Muscles in the first touchdown of this championship game, and Georgia claims its first lead.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Bennett launching, Mitchell, caught it, touchdown Georgia!
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
I don't like this spot at all. It's 3rd and 1. They're going to throw for it. Bowers has got it. He's got a blocker. Touchdown, Georgia!
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Biggest 3rd down of Bryce Young's career. You need 10. Play clock at 4. From the pocket. Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. Zone, and Georgia is going to conquer the Crimson Tide.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this very dreary, very chilly Tuesday. Of course, wherever you might be, it might be so much colder. It's actually about 50 degrees, but it seems to be much more damp and chilly than that. Tonight, the number 1 ranked men's basketball team in action at home against a team that had perhaps the most impressive win over the weekend in 19th ranked Texas Tech, that game at the Ferrell Center about the time that we close out this show. Also, Baylor ends up number 5 in the country. Oklahoma State right behind them. It all depends on which poll you look at, but Baylor with their highest ever finish in their football program's history. Georgia wins the national title, and we've got some other notes to get to in college sports, but I thought you could kind of tell this would be a different Georgia team after about the first half. Even though Alabama still had the lead, it just seemed like Georgia was one play away if they were going to get it, and they got more than one.
Well, the game, I mean, if you take away the names of the teams, the way the game was playing out to me was if somebody hits a big play in this game, it's going to open the whole thing up. It's going to loosen everybody up. Of course, it didn't happen until late in the third quarter, really, when they started scoring touchdowns, the thing that you're supposed to score. It felt to me like they forgot that a little bit. And neither coach was really being all that aggressive early on. They were kind of playing chess with each other for quite a while. But credit to Georgia for being able to grab momentum, lose momentum, and then grab it back against Alabama, which is kind of what happened with A&M. A&M grabbed momentum from them. Lost it for a long time. It looked like the wheels had come off, and then they grabbed it back. I think that's really the only way you can beat Alabama is to withstand their comeback on you. And that's what happened with Georgia. Stetson Bennett set for life now in and around the areas of Athens and Atlanta. He'll never pay for a beer again. It was a great story, but that was just a fantastic Georgia team all year long. And they finally looked, this time against Alabama, they looked mostly like the team they were all year long.
Yeah, it was a fun field goal kicking contest for half that game. I mean, neither team could get in the end zone, and you got to credit both defenses for that. But, yeah, I mean, credit to Georgia for just sticking in there, fighting through, and, they're down most of that game. Or, even if it was close, typically Alabama was leading that game for the majority, and, Georgia just stayed with it and eventually popped a couple of big plays, and that was all she wrote. I mean, it is like a touchdown counted for 20 points last night. It felt like because of just all the field goals that were having to be kicked early on. I mean, the first 5 scores of that game were field goals, and then the last 5 out of the last 6 scores were touchdowns. So definitely a tale of two halves. For sure. But, yeah, I mean, awesome moment for Kirby Smart. I mean, they've been building this thing for a while now. They've been at the top or near the top of the recruiting rankings for the last several years, and they just couldn't get over that one hump, really. And now they've gotten over that, and they're a program that's in great shape and obviously a brand new national title. You wonder what they can do with that given what they've done without having that in their back pocket. But now, yeah, a totally different program the way you view them because they do have a recent national title and not something that, last took place when 41-year-olds were being born. That's how long they had to wait. So, great second half of that. I mean, the first half I didn't think was like a bad game per se. I know a lot of people were pretty bored. I look at it as like it was just 2 really good defenses going at it, but there was a little bit left to be desired. Alabama's injuries didn't help that matter on offense, but great job by the Bulldogs. Way to finish it off and way to make up for what they missed out on with the SEC championship.
And I think outside of that too, though, one of the things that really kind of hurt the flow of the game was it was a rematch from 2 coaches who know each other so well. So especially and defensive-minded head coaches. So when you have guys like that, I expected it to be about a quarter of maybe nothing happening because they knew each other so well, and then somebody would pop it open. It just lasted a lot longer of they just knew each other's moves or knew how to respond.
I think what happened is Georgia realized that if they didn't try to make something happen down the field, that they were never going to score as far as, their defense played out of their mind as they did most, as you mentioned, Craig, up until the second, third, and fourth quarter against Alabama, and they just finally said the hell with it. I mean, this Stetson Bennett was not great. Bryce Young took more hits in that game than probably even the loss to A&M and College Station, but in the end, it turned out to be kind of back and forth, and Georgia wins it all, first time since 1980. Congratulations to Kirby Smart. Congratulations to Georgia, and they'll be ranked in number 1, 2, or 3, or 4 next year, along with Alabama and Ohio State and others. I saw a couple of those early, too early for top 25. That happens almost even the night of the games are played as well. But I thought Baylor at 5 is probably right where they should be. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a top 5 team if you look at what they did throughout the season. I mean, you finished 12-2, Big 12 champs, Sugar Bowl champs, 4 top 25 wins. I mean, That's a top 5 resume. They could maybe have had more, but the only other opportunity they had to get more would have been to beat Oklahoma State twice, and they got them the time that it mattered, just like Georgia beat Alabama the time that it mattered when there was a trophy on the line. So you can have all those regular season wins, but ultimately it matters what happens in the
the heat of the championship moment. And for Georgia, they were able to stay cool enough to beat back those Flames. Alabama looked good early, and you kind of got a feeling, even though it was just a field goal kicking contest, and I don't say that disparagingly, but you kind of got the feeling that Alabama was just kind of lull them to sleep and just suffocate them. And like Paul said, I think Georgia just finally realized after halftime, like, if we keep playing this way, like, we're just going to lose 9-6. Like, you got to do something. You got to have some spark, and they finally got that spark, and then they followed it up with another one, and then they blew it open. But
Saban 8 timeouts going into halftime that he could have used, and a friend of mine, Kyle Cornish, texted in our little group text last night and said, makes you wonder if you're Kirby Smart, if Saban is okay playing this style, like, what does he know? Like, what does he know about what you're doing that you're going to have to change up? Because if you're, what was it, 6-3 at that point or whatever, 9-3, at halftime, whatever it was, if he's ready to go into halftime with 3 field goals on the board and 3 timeouts in his pocket, you're like, hold on. What's going on?
I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he outthought himself. I also know Georgia had the first possession of the third quarter, which makes no sense. To that, even if it's Nick Saban, to me it didn't make much sense because you could have ended up fielding a punt at around your 45, and then Georgia could have gotten a first down, which they did, and eventually made it all irrelevant. From the text or chat room, and the text line's open, 254-339-1122. Let's see here. Owen was wondering about the ratings. I haven't seen that from Deplorable. Something about the Williams when he went out obviously made a big difference. Part of the game. I get that as well, kind of like with Corral and Ole Miss. Mike S., how about Georgia just running it down the throat of Alabama on the go-ahead touchdown drive? When is the last time you've seen that against Bama? Not only did they do it in the go-ahead touchdown drive, then they did it again when Alabama went 3 and out to just basically nuke the rest of the clock. I know there was the pick 6 and stuff like that at the end, which was unbelievable, but I thought Georgia just like in the fourth quarter, they got a crack, and Alabama could not seal that back up. So now I ask everybody as well, give me your top 5 at the end of the year in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ryan, Oklahoma, logo on his name. Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati, and Baylor. From Owen, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Cincinnati, and Baylor. So it's pretty much going right down the line of pretty much what is the top 5 as well.
I have to say, going back to the preseason rankings you mentioned a second ago, there's never been a dumber time to release these early preseason rankings in this day and age of college football. Like, it's totally pointless. Now, granted, you can put Alabama and Georgia there, and that's going to remain the same, but like 5 through 25, you really have no idea. I mean, the transfer portal is wide open. We have no idea who's going to be the starting quarterback in like half the Big 12 next year. You know what I mean? Like,
what 5 and 7 teams are going to get 9 transfers that make them 9 and 3?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, nobody would have pegged Baylor being where they are, and then they went and got all those transfers in their handful of transfers in the spring and made their moves that they made. But like, yeah, like all these brand new coaching staffs, all these brand new players, and the rosters, they're going to be shifting over the next couple of months, especially around spring ball time. I mean, that it's just kind of silly, but I understand it's content. That's the word, right? It's content, so it's there for people to read. It really has no weight to it whatsoever. But yeah, I think it's sillier now than ever, especially the day after the national championship game. But content.
Rich Boone, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Baylor. That's his 5. A question about Caleb Williams and when does he make his decision, whether it's Georgia and or USC or whoever it might be? I'm not know. If it happens in an hour, it does, and we cover it and go from there. Biscuits and gravy. Some team underachieved this year, not living up to the preseason predictions, and other teams overachieved, finishing in the top 5 without any preseason top 25 votes. And Baylor did that. And so one of the things Baylor has and Isaac Power, their punter, announced he's coming back, and he could have left, and he had a phenomenal year. He was an absolute field position flipper for them. Rauschenberg with the kicking game, along with Hankins most of the time. They got a lot of people coming back. Now, one thing you have to guard against is that doesn't ensure next year is this year or better. It does help. because you got a lot of important people back. But Iowa State, remember, reloaded and had a bunch of guys coming back from a team that went to the Big 12 championship game. Baylor did win it and won the Sugar Bowl, but it doesn't ensure it, but it sure does help. And Dave Aranda's got a team and a standard and a culture there that seems to be where players want to come back for another year, even if they can leave.
Yeah. By the way, got some odds on next year already. Odds on next year's college football playoff, and these are, Alabama's 13-4, Georgia 7-2, Ohio State 7-1, Clemson 12-1, Michigan 12-1. Some other interesting ones of note.
How much I'm going to bet that somebody's going to be among the top 15 because of their name?
Okay, Oklahoma State is 33-1. Would you agree with? Putting them in the top 10 of people?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Baylor is 50-1.
Top 10?
Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
Or top 15 of people who could.
Losing Jim Knowles is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. Based on Spencer Sanders will be back, and yeah, okay. You can convince me. I'm not going to argue it, but it's just kind of.
So I'm trying to give you guys a window of what I'm talking about here. So Oklahoma State is 33-1. Baylor
50-1.
Is 50-1. Okay, they split this season. The same odds as Oklahoma State are teams like Utah. Okay, that was a good team this year. Oregon. Okay, and now I'm going to throw one that's going to make you just
it's not.
poo your pants.
No, it's not, because I expect it.
It's Texas. It's 33-1.
Yeah,
but we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. The transfer portal, they've not really taken in from the transfer portal yet. They have fed it greatly and are going to continue to feed it with this team, but still Texas. And this is Vegas. This isn't media people who just see the name and go, well, Texas is eventually going to turn it around. This is Vegas, who really usually knows what they're talking about.
No,
still
they
putting
also
it
know
at
how to
33-1.
make sure you bet.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's probably Quinn Ewers hype. I don't know. If they have a better quarterback, they're a better team, and I'm sure they're going to keep reloading. They also got Watts from Ohio State, and they've been relatively active. But, yeah, they're always going to get hype, I think, because it's easy money for Vegas, that they know people are going to spend on them one way or the other. And I think that there's this, belief every year of, oh, no, this is the year. And we just do that until it's finally right. And then it's like, see, I told you. And it's like, yeah, but you said that the last 10 years and it wasn't the year. But now you're bragging about being – I feel like it's kind of like that of it has to happen at some point. That's what it really boils down to. It has to – eventually we've got to be right and they've got to be good again. I really think that's what it is, because what else is it? What's different this year than any other year? Quinn Ewers. Okay, so then what was the reasoning last year? With Hudson Card and Casey Thompson.
Yep.
So
well, it was Bijan Robinson was going to carry the entire program on his back.
Right,
He's a great player, but
I do think mostly it's probably they're good money that people spend one way or the other, and also just eventually you're going to be right. That's the only way I can really explain it. But I do know there is hype, like there always is every offseason for them, and now for many other teams. Texas Tech's got hype and Baylor's got hype and all of that. But I do feel like the whole Quinn Ewers thing is what they're banking on being the final program changer that they've been waiting on for so long. We'll see.
Yeah, and again, there's going to be all sorts of different, who's the early top 25 and early whoever this and that. And I used to look at that, and now, honestly, it's so many different outlets that do it, I almost get bored with it. All right, tell me a name in there that might surprise me. Rather than tell me about Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, or whoever else, is there a name in there, and have they ever been right? Like, for example, somebody at this time last year saying Baylor. Or somebody at this time last year saying even Oklahoma State. Well, is there somebody in that list that might be when we look at this in 12 months, we're like, damn.
No, because Baylor, USC's at 40-1. And that's just above Baylor, and that's all Lincoln Riley and possibly Caleb Williams hype. Michigan State's at 40-1, and the 50-1s are Baylor and Miami. Miami getting 50-1 only because of Mario Cristobal.
Yeah,
and the Tyler Van Dyke, but we don't know the rest of their roster.
What was Baylor's odds a year ago? It would have 100-1 or worse, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, if you want to make some real money, Kansas 1,000-1 to go to the CFP.
Yeah.
1,000 to 1.
Yeah. That's low. Like the odds should be even higher. It should be more like 10,000 to 1 that they get to the CFP. But I do think Lance Leipold will get them in a better position by next year than the growth they already made this year. I think they finally got the right football coach up in Lawrence.
Kansas's odds are lower than Army and Navy, who don't play an automatic qualifier on Power 5 conferences.
As low as you can go.
Yeah.
There's one of the story, and again, if you want to continue on the chat room text line, also 254-339-1122 on last night's championship game and college football going forward. There's one story. Mack Rhoades will join us in an hour. Baylor's director of athletics. Louisiana Tech, who Baylor was supposed to open with this year. That game has been dropped for the next couple of years. They are no longer on the schedule against each other, and we'll have Mack discuss that with us. So the entire 3-game series, Louisiana Tech, remember, in 2020 had to back out because of COVID, and then they did not play this year. We're not expected to play, and now 22 and 23. And this probably has something to do. You have Sonny Dykes. You have Sonny Cumbie at Tech, has his own philosophy of what he wants, and Baylor too. And I have a feeling, I think a lot of people would be disappointed if that game is not replaced with a pretty good game, with a pretty good name. It's not going to be Georgia, and it's not going to be USC or Oregon, but I would be surprised if, in fact, that game is not replaced with a pretty decent name.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if that was the biggest name on their schedule. It's not, though. They go to BYU, so they don't really need to replace them with some juggernaut to make the schedule right. I mean, if that was their big game, was that one in particular, then yeah, I mean, that would be problematic if La Tech was the biggest team that you had in those three. But you don't. You got a road trip to BYU, so that'll be your big marquee non-con game, and we'll see who they replace them with. Very odd to pull out 8 months ahead of time, but I guess 8 months will need to be long enough to find a replacement for that game. So hopefully they don't have to dig too far down to find a team that's finally available. I hope they don't have to go scrape the Southland to find somebody. But if they have to do that, they have to do that, and it won't be their issue. It'll be the fact that La Tech pulled out to go play Missouri. So I'm interested to hear what their reasoning was, and maybe Sonny Cumbie just didn't want to face Baylor twice in the span of less than a year. I don't know, but I'm curious to hear why they did that.
One of the note, the 512 saying that last year Baylor for the Big 12 only was plus 300 to win the Big 12. So you could have put down $100 and won $3,000, right?
Yeah.
And how it works? That's not a bad deal. Now, you always wonder about that, and it never works that way. I don't know if you have a story where you put down just $100 on something or whatever it might have been on a high deal. Like I've won a couple of. I haven't been to a horse racing track in 20 years or so, and on occasion you'd throw one down at a 25 or 30 to 1, and you'd get lucky. And it was so rare. That's why they're 25 to 30 to 50 to 1, whatever. But I wonder how many of you have ever done that. Hell, I'm going to put down $100 on so and so, and you've hit it.
Oh,
in the case,
plus 3,000.
Sorry, 3,000 to win the Big 12. 3,000. So $100 would have won you $30,000. Is that right?
I think that's for every 3,000 you win 100.
Yeah.
So whatever you put down, that was multiply that, and that would be what you end up with.
Yeah, the 512 I mistyped was worth the $15. So if the 512 put down $15 on Baylor, and they were 3,000 plus 3,000 on the bet, and they won the Big 12. All right, it's 3:21. We will hear from Terrell Bernard, All-American linebacker at Baylor. He's up in the Dallas area, ready now, getting training to get set for the Combine and eventually the NFL Draft. Had a chance to visit with him. He'll be on with us today at 4, and again, Mack Rhoades today at 4:20. Baylor and Texas Tech tonight. I read some previews, kind of dug around, and I also saw this note. John Rothstein saying that Jeremy Sohan is a game-time decision against Texas Tech. That surprised me. To me, if that's true, and that's what he said, Scott Drew mentioned, that if that's true, then Jeremy Sohan is in a lot better shape than I thought. He might be out for 2 or 3 weeks. And that would be amazing, and they may be really lucky if, in fact, that's the case.
Yeah, that looked really bad. I mean, he was in a lot of pain, and then he was sitting in a boot for the rest of the game, which I know is precautionary, but I mean, you never want to see the boot.
No.
Even there's like, it's just precautionary.
Well, remember Estrada was in a boot, the football wide receiver, and he played in the game.
LJ Cryer was in one for a couple days, I know.
So Georgia won the national title. They also ended up with the best record against anybody that was at one point at the end of the year ranked in the top 25. Georgia went 5-1 against teams in the final top 25 poll. Alabama was one of 2 teams that went 4-1. Baylor was the other. Oklahoma State 3-1. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh went 2-1. And then there's a chunk of teams that went 2-2. Ohio State, Michigan, Miami, and Purdue. Others who had a win: Wake Forest 1-2, Clemson 1-3, Oregon was 1-3. So those are the end of the year AP ranks and who beat teams that ended up in the top 25. Now that can be a little bit deceiving because you could have had a team early in the year that was really, really, really good. And you beat them and they were ranked 8th and did not end up in the top 25 because of injuries or whatever else. But for the most part, that's Georgia won it all, 5-1, and Alabama and Baylor and Oklahoma State 4-1, 4-1, and 3-1. This was the best Baylor football team ever based on the final ranking, based on the number of wins. There's always a debate that somebody else might have been a better team, and that's why you have tailgating, sports bars, and whatever else that you can discuss.
Yeah, we had a call or a message earlier about the ratings for the national championship game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a solid number, but I know they're down. I'll try to have something off the radar, an exact number, but the only article I saw was like, well, ABC had this many, and just tell me the total. Tell me the total number, and it didn't have a total number in there, so it just bounced around saying gibberish to not really say what we need to know, but I do know based on what was reported that they were down. I'm not sure to what level, but that's not a surprise.
And that's what Tim Brando thought. Now, Brando also picked Alabama. I picked Alabama. I thought they would win, and I was wrong. It doesn't matter to me. I was happy for Kirby Smart and the reaction of the Georgia fans. Now, Armstrong, I sent you a tweet from Zach Barnett earlier today on Dave Aranda at the AFCA coaching convention, which is going on down in San Antonio. Let me know when you have that available. Because we've heard about, Paul, what was it, the Berenstain Bears?
Yes. Velveteen Rabbit.
The Velveteen Rabbit. And we've heard his analogies before. And he was one of the featured speakers at the AFCA Coaches Convention. As you could imagine, he would be. And this is from Zach Barnett. We have it? Okay. From Zach Barnett. You got it?
I don't see this email.
Okay.
You're referring to.
All right.
I just saw this as we get back to the rating. Now it looks like the ratings are up. So the TV website I just looked at, totally wrong. Probably needs to fix their article that was put out a couple hours ago. 22.6 million viewers across all of the ESPN networks. Last year it was 18.7 for Bama, Ohio State. But it is the second lowest rating since the college football playoff started in 2015. So last year, the COVID year was the worst rating. This year, the second worst rating. And least watched title game, if you don't count Bama, Georgia from last year, COVID year, the least watched title game since 2005 USC, Oklahoma.
Which got out of hand early.
That was a boring-ass game. That was a blowout.
Like
that was not worth watching past about halftime. Yeah, that was a no-show for the Sooners.
Wasn't there an early muffed punt that was bouncing around on the ground?
Yeah, they muffed a punt early on, and then it just got completely away from them after that. And that might have been what was going to happen eventually anyways because that USC team was so good. But, yeah, I don't remember who it was. It was like Manny Johnson or Mark Bradley, somebody like that muffed a punt, and USC recovered, and then it was pretty much off to the races after that particular moment. But that was the last least watched game. So, that's not going in the right way. That's not going the right way at all. And I just saw Stuart Mandel make the comment of even taking away last year's aberration because, again, it was a COVID year. He said CFP number trending in the wrong direction, something they might want to think about. And yet here they are at their little meetings where nothing ever gets done except for they just sit in their own corners with their own sides that they refuse to budge from. But watch that rating keep going down. And then 2 years from now when it's at 14 million, it's the lowest since whatever, then I'm sure they'll, well, we better do something. Well, yeah, you probably do need to do something, but you should probably do something before it gets to that point, because it's not, like he said, trending in the right direction.
Texas Tech and Baylor, we mentioned men's basketball in the next segment. John Jakus, Baylor assistant coach, will join us. Stephen Davis, have we heard who's out or available for Tech tonight? No, we have not, but we were told yesterday by, oh my goodness, the writer we had on, Austin Massey, he felt like that perhaps McCullough was going to be able to play tonight, who missed the game against Kansas. Back in a moment. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you need to be, want to be, and used to be. How? Find out where your testosterone levels are. As you grow older, no matter what, 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone. It happens. And it affects many things: sleep habits, energy, and sex drive. If you have any of those symptoms, 35, 50, however you are, contact Dr. Kent Petty, PettyClinicLowT.com, to become the high-performance man you want to be, used to be, and need to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
This month, it's all about the championship drive as our hometown team celebrates the Big 12 championship and a Sugar Bowl win. So can you in your new vehicle from Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Waco. During the Start Something New sales event, shop for power, performance, and reliability from our selection of the new 2021 Ram 1500 Lone Star. Are you planning your next adventure? Choose from a range of Jeep models, including the 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Take home the trophy from Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
letters in the alphabet, over 600,000 words in the dictionary, and just 3 of them said together can change everything. Let's order pizza. Those 3 words lead to dough made from scratch and 3 fresh signature cheeses that blanket golden crust in a heavenly melt on Marco's Pizza that'll blow your mind. So visit marcos.com to order and stop by Marco's Pizza in Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Call us on the Bet US hotline, 254-339-1122.
We're now joined by John Jakus, assistant basketball coach, Baylor men's basketball, national champions, #1 in the country, unbeaten. Hell of a game tonight at home at the Farrell Center against a very good Texas Tech team coming off their win against Kansas. Coach, John, thank you very much. Who plays better defense, your program or Dave Aranda's football team?
Can we say it's a tie? Can we be both in the same class? I mean, do you have to make us choose?
No, you don't have to choose. It's interesting how that standard or that culture, that mentality and personality is the same, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the unique thing about defense is so much of it is a decision. It's a decision based on how aggressive you want to be, your willingness to hit, your understanding of where to be on time, how to rotate. It's similar both in football and basketball that it's an effort choice in many ways. Offense can often be a talent choice. You still have to make effort decisions, but the defensive side, so much of it can just be made up with culture and your love of just beating the heck out of people. And I don't know that we're a football team. We don't hit like that, but we hit as much as we were allowed to. And I think that carries through. And when we're not that aggressive on defense, it shows. And then when we're all over people, I think it goes the other way. And the cool thing about us is defense leads to offense. And we're at our best when those 2, 3, 4, 5 stops in a row start leading into transition offense for us. So those are linked, and we want to be really good at that. But certainly both programs are putting their hat on being good defensive programs.
Is that the biggest reason that you mentioned about the attitude and buying into the culture? Is that the biggest reason that when you guys have a lull like you did against TCU where you're not scoring, that it doesn't become a 16-point deficit? It's a 7, 8, 9-point deficit where a couple of threes and then all of a sudden everything's different again?
Yeah, I think there are lulls. But for us, I thought like the TCU lull a lot was just Mike Miles going crazy. And, 3 of the shots they made in the first half were banked in, and 2 of them were from like 30 feet. So we like to say in basketball, when the ball's in the air, people decide if you're a good coach or a bad coach based on whether the ball goes in. And I thought TCU was making really tough contested shots, and that the defense was maybe a little better than people realized. The ball was just banking in. But once those contests on defense kind of carried over and affected them, then you start to see what you're talking about, which is that 14-0 run in the second half where the defense then links to the offense, and then there's a helplessness by the other team because they get frustrated when they can't score. And then maybe they rest on defense, and in those moments your offense improves. So basketball doesn't stop. It's more fluid, and so they're linked in a big, big way. But some of the lows just playing on the road, 8 of the 10 teams in our league are going to make the NCAA tournament. It's really hard, and you just got to work your way through that. And I think that's something we'll have to work through even tonight.
John, you guys are shooting really well from 3, especially since the start of conference play. The ebbs and flows of good shooting, what do you attribute that to more often than not when you have, I guess, a surge and you're shooting particularly well? Is it just practice? Is it just being in the groove? What does that kind of get attributed to sometimes?
Yeah, I think some of it is health. Adam had a hand thing, and I don't think people understood how sacrificial he was and how much he loves his teammates, and then he played injured for a pocket of time. LJ was working through a foot thing, and all that's kind of linked. And even James shot 43% from 3 at Arizona. So I think there was just a uptick that was coming for all 3 of them. And it's kind of hit where all 3 are shooting the ball well at the same time. And then you add Jeremy had a 5-game stretch where he shot 45 from three, and, Matt shot 39% last year. And so there is upside there, not just because we're young, but because the shooting can kind of go up for us in portions of time. And right now we seem to be in one of those swings the last 3 games. Hopefully we can manage our legs and stay there. But there's no exact science to that. If we had the perfect answer, we'd be shooting 50% from three all year.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're the best shooting team in our league the last 3 years, that's meant a bunch to us. It's something we look to recruit. And you just got to live with misses for stretches. But know that when you have the best shooters, eventually it's going to come back around, and that's what it's doing right now.
I saw a note from John Rothstein. He said per Scott Drew that Jeremy Sohan was a game-time decision. Is that that's good news? I know you can't say much, if anything at all, John, but that would be good news based on when he went down, would it not?
Yeah, I can't say much about that, and that's between Scott and our trainers, and they're going to make good, wise decisions. And more than anything, that just comes down to Jeremy and how he feels. But for us as a staff, when you see him go down at TCU and the ankle's kind of hanging there, and you wonder if it's an Achilles, and then you go through the X-ray and the MRI, and it comes back, and it's not the Achilles, and there's no surgery. I can't tell you when he's going to come back, but I can tell you it's not what it maybe could have been. And we're really encouraged by that, and not just for us as a team, but for him as a kid. Injuries can really affect kids more than just physically, but sometimes just not being able to play, not being with the team. Got to do extra doctor's appointments, and we just want him back with us as much as possible. So the fact that it seems like that could come faster than maybe expected when he first went down, we're really thankful for. But as far as the day that he comes back, I'm not sure, and I don't have an honest answer for you.
James Akinjo's buy-in and the way that you guys have been able to kind of morph around what he does well, because again, he's, everybody has his different skill sets or different things that they do or better, has been really remarkable early on for a transfer, a guy who's been doing things a certain way. What's it been like coaching James Akinjo and watching him kind of morph into what you guys do and building around what he can do?
It's been a joy, I'll be honest, and we're really thankful for the process. It doesn't make the process easy. There's times where we let him know maybe he's dribbling a little bit too much, or that he's not making the reads that he should in the ball screen, or there's certain standards that we want offensively and defensively from our point guard. And so much of a relationship isn't the ability to point things out or yell at each other. It's the ability to meet in the middle and change. And change doesn't always come as fast as you want with 18 to 22-year-olds, but if you look at his first 6 months, what it took some of the guards in their redshirt year in the first 6 months of them playing, he's kind of ahead of schedule. And that speaks to him as a person, and it speaks to him just to the buy-in. And I think the whole staff has done a good job with him. But most importantly, his teammates and he himself have done a good job. So we think there's more growth in our ability to make the three as long as we take quality ones. But we also think there's just some more growth wrapped up in our freshmen this second semester and then our new players and transfers. And if James can be a big part of that growth, we like to tell the guys we can be better than we are right now. And we hope that's true. We think that would be scary, but we just got to take that day by day. But his day by day buy-in has only gotten better as the year is going on. And it should. If you look at the success he's having, he needs to listen and believe that we have a plan for him and it's the right plan. And it's been a real blessing.
So, John, tonight at home against Texas Tech, the Red Raiders in their first year with Mark Adams, although he's obviously been around the program, but a big win over Kansas over the weekend. What do you see from the Red Raiders and Mark Adams in this first season?
Well, they're doing a great job. That's the first thing we see. And some of the culture and carryover from, Mark and Chris working together is there, but there's some pretty distinct things to who they are right now. And this is Alvin Brooks Scout. He's got Texas Tech, and I thought he did a really, really good job this week. And a big thing for them is they score 39 points a game in their wins in the paint. And then they score 28 in their losses. And they're top 20 in the country in 2-point offensive percentage. And then they do as good a job as anybody. They're number one in our league in defense. They're number one in turnover percentage. So the war is almost, can you keep them from making twos? And then can you make enough twos that they have to collapse, and then you can get your open threes? And the reason we call it a war is because it's harder than people realize. They're tougher than almost any team that we're going to face. And they've got this thing about them where they play a bunch of the forwards that are the same size, but the 6'4" to 6'9" guy, all 5 spots are that. So it's going to feel like there's no place to go. And we're going to have to manage that, not turn it over. And if we can score enough, get back on defense and make sure they don't make enough twos. But they're doing a great job. They have an identity, and it seems like their identity is only getting stronger if you watch the last couple games. And that's just a sign that they're a really, really good staff.
You mentioned their height, so they've got length, and I know wingspan and all that, the way you guys play defense. Is it almost in any way, although you have some more true guards than they have, is it in any way looking in the mirror?
Yeah, I would say that it's looking in the mirror when you look at their defense. I don't think their offensive concepts are like ours, not to the point where you would say it's looking in the mirror, but defensively it certainly is. And both teams are going to try to hit. Both teams are going to try to make you dribble in place. They're both going to try to keep you on the side, and they're going to try to make sure you don't get anywhere near the rim. And then when the ball is in the air, everybody's going to hit everybody. And if you're looking up in the air and you're not hitting, you're going to get cracked in the back, and it's going to hurt. And both teams have those 4 or 5 things in common, and that's what makes for a great physical college basketball game. And it just comes down to the refs and how much they're going to let us hit and play, and then we got to adjust. But certainly it's like looking in the mirror when you watch them play defense.
John, it's been a fun run, and I know that it was last year and the year before that as well. We appreciate your time on game day. I know that's always kind of a time for you to decompress and get ready. We appreciate you, as always, for dropping the knowledge on us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do for us. And we just really appreciate your support, and we're going to try to keep it going. So
yes,
have
sir.
a great day.
John Jakus, assistant basketball coach, Scott Drew and Baylor. It's like watching each other play in a way because of how they play defense, what Adams does, what Baylor's taking part of that, what they do. And, it's, when you're good at something, you steal it.
If
somebody wants to take it.
If it's 35-30 at halftime, I'll be shocked.
You think it could be like 28-25?
Yeah, I think that's where this might live, given how well both these teams play defense. But the advantage that Baylor has is they are a much better scoring team than Texas Tech when they get going. But you've got to get over that Texas Tech defense. So if Akinjo, Flagler, LJ Cryer get hot from 3, then maybe it gets to that point early in the game. But this is going to be a tough one because Texas Tech does not let you score.
Let me tell you something. They won a game against Kansas, although it was at home, without McCullough and without Shannon. That's unbelievably impressive. And he mentioned as far as the rim, they just don't allow shots at the rim. And, I'm talking about anything around the rim. That means Jonathan Chamwachachua or Flo Thamba, which they have not really – they're not there much for their offense, but it would be nice if they could – knock down 6 or 8 points each, and that'd be a bonus. But follow-up shots, and they're very athletic. It ought to be a hell of a game. I watched a lot of that Kansas game, and they were fantastic in that win against the Jayhawks. All right, it's 3:45. We'll come back with a couple of the notes. I have a quote. It's a tweet from Zach Barnett from Dave Aranda, and part of what he was discussing today at the AFCA. Also, when you hear about the college football playoff expanding, and they don't have any idea what the heck or blank they're doing. They are so confused and stuck in the mud with that. Who knows what's going to happen? But you talk about expanding the playoffs and it opens it up for a lot of others. It may not change who wins every year, but it does allow other teams to have a chance that otherwise don't. We'll have that graphic for you as well. And this is Sick on 365 Radio. Marco's Pizza. Bob Mock, the local owner, 4 locations, the new one in Robinson, also in Belmead, and China Spring, and also in Woodway. In fact, over the weekend, I think the first time after being kind of not feeling great for a while, and I feel so much better today and yesterday, but after the first time, I was like, I need something besides soup, something besides liquid. And it was the first time I really wanted it, and I didn't want to cook, so I ordered a pizza from Marco's. And here enough, the other guy shows up. Thin crust, all meat. It was delicious. I didn't eat much, maybe a couple of pieces because I was still trying to get myself back. But the next day, I was able to pick and choose at it. It was fantastic because Marco's Pizza. I don't know how many different things you cook. And is there anything better the next day than what pizza is the next day, even if it's cold? Yeah, maybe spaghetti or something else, but it's just one of those foods that you can always eat no matter what. And Marco's Pizza right now, the Pepperoni Magnifico. large $9.99. Use the promo code PEPMAG or apply online or use the app as well. Order now the Pepperoni Magnifico. It is loaded up with pepperoni upon pepperoni. The unlimited large 2-topping pizzas available. Marco's Pizza, marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it. 4 locations in the Waco area, over 1,000 around the country. And in Waco, it's Robinson, Belmead, China Spring, and Woodway. Marcos.com. Marcos, pizza lovers get it.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco, is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. a hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, couple of notes. We'll have Terrell Bernard, All-American linebacker at Baylor, now prepping for the upcoming offseason into the NFL draft with Combine and all that. He'll join us, and then Mack Rhoades today at 4:20. So here is I just happened to see this on my timeline, my Twitter timeline. Zach Barnett covers college football. He put this up. We can summarize Dave Aranda's AFCA, American Football Coaches Association, general session talk this way. He's the first coach that I've heard, and possibly the first in the history of this convention, to quote Maya Angelou. Now, I admit this, and this is not me trying to play dumb, because that isn't hard for me to do. I'm serious. I didn't know who she was. That's because I'm just kind of sheltered or just not very smart. But I mentioned that to both Paul and Craig, and both of you guys immediately knew who she was. And she's an amazing former, she's passed away, I think, 7 years ago, a poet, writer.
She just became the first black woman on a quarter today. So she's in the news for that.
Well, and then might have been part
first
of what,
woman, I guess,
what Dave Aranda was discussing as well today. And because his analogies are deep, as we know. Mm-hmm. So here's the funniest response to that tweet from Buck Metrics. You know, as soon as Aranda dropped that name, at least a dozen coaches were texting their directors of recruiting. What is this Angelou kid ranked by Rivals in 247?
Well, I think this, and most coaches kind of fall into one category because they're coaches. Dave Aranda is his own category.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody like him when it comes to coaching or that approaches things that way in sort of the holistic coaching, if that's the way to put it, where it's much more than just, you know, the basics that you know. He's so deep. And I saw that tweet and I was in no way surprised. I just know that he stepped it up from children's literature to, you know, next level heroic poetry that Maya Angelou wrote.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Shout out, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's obviously above some people's heads or don't know much about her and maybe had to go Google on their phones. But, I mean, I don't really have much of a reaction. I mean, Aranda's just that kind of guy.
Animal,
he's just unique, and he says stuff that I guess not other people say. That's cool. And I'm sure there will be a lot of other, you know, former famous authors and poets and whatnot that he'll you know, add on as time goes along. But yeah, from children's literature to Maya Angelou, it's clear he's a reader, and I don't think there's any doubt about that when you hear him talk and just kind of see his demeanor that he's a very knowledgeable, smart individual, and you don't get that way just by, you know, not picking up a book every once in a while. So, yeah, I think he's probably an amazing person to have a conversation with outside of football, but he sure is good at the football part of things.
A lot of back and forth, and I got one other graphic to show you, a lot of back and forth. Aaron Wilson, our Texas Tech fan who wore the 365 sports cap in their win against Kansas. Back and forth in the game tonight, what Tech does, what Baylor does on the chat room. Also, there's some talk about the national championship, expansion, etc., including this one. Mark my words, when the playoff expands beyond 6, a Francis card, it'll be under 3 years. Be an inferior team wins after marquee player opts out or gets hurt, then week 13 games become duds as folks sit out. Now, I don't know about that, about whether the games, we sit out games because it's on your way to a possible national championship, but we see opt-outs. Never thought I'd ever see them. And initially, it kind of bothered me. And then I started realizing, hey, do what you can do, and people are going to make their own choices.
I think that will start being combated with some of the money they're getting. I think that will, especially when it comes to the playoff, there might be a sponsor that's a big, like, when you think about the big-time sponsors, the corporate sponsors that are going to want people participating in the playoff and want it to be good, then I think some of that money will start flowing to those guys who would opt out, because you're going to be like, hey, we need you to play in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, last night you watch injuries, and you go, okay, well, there's the perfect argument for why these guys sit out of games. And, at the same time, if there was some sort of a safety net there, whether that be a bowl sponsor or whatever, to ensure, they also have insurance policies as well, but I know that doesn't make up for if you were planning on being in the league for 15 years and making $100 million, that's $6 million or whatever you get from insurance isn't really going to cut it over the long haul. But they're going to have to figure out something, because I was seeing chatter before the game. Some person wrote an article, and I think it was probably somebody who's rooting for this. They again, these chaos people, they root for chaos and root for just upsetting the establishment or whatever, but or root just for things to go off the rails to watch the chaos. I don't know. It's the whole staring at a car wreck thing, I guess. But I did see somebody float the idea of, what if so-and-so decided, like Bryce Young tonight, decides to not play in the championship game? What would you do about it? There's nothing you could do about it if he made that choice. So at some point, just like, the big Florida State recruit who wanted to become the first marquee guy to go to an HBCU and however many, somebody's going to want to be the first. Somebody's going to want to be that guy. And, we've already had Penny Sewell sat out an entire year. He's, that's happened now.
Micah Parsons
more than once. We've seen that. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody does eventually take a stand if things remain the way they are. That's why, again, college football officials need to be on the forefront of things. And we talk about this every day. They never are. So, don't be surprised if they sit on their hands and then a year or two from now, there's some major marquee player that says, no, I'm going to protect myself and not play. I want to go to the NFL. And they're just going to be like, well, you could have addressed it, but odds are they won't, because that's what they typically do. They sit on their hands.
Well, the discussion is also about the college football playoff expanding from 4 to whatever it might be. And it's like, okay, that will open up the door for more people. That is true. There's no doubt about it. But it doesn't mean the championship winners change. If you look over the last 15 or 20 years, the BCS, it's about 8 or 9 teams that have won the national title, Alabama winning like 7 or 6 or whatever. In the FCS, they have an absolute playoff system. North Dakota State, here's a graphic, won the national title again in their win against Montana State. Look at who's won the FCS championship since 2012. Of course, Sam Houston State, earlier or last year, when the season was played in 2021, as far as early in the year. North Dakota State has won 9 of the last 11. And so it doesn't mean who wins it changes, but Montana State, who played in the championship game, was a number 8 seed, and in the current FCS format of what is the college playoff, they never would have had that chance, even though North Dakota State dominated that game.
Yeah, I see what Barrett's point is, but he is also very much an SEC bootlicker. I mean, he is. He's basically propaganda, and I've seen enough of his tweets, and I don't mean any personal, jab at the guy. Don't know him, but all I see when I do see his tweets are like basically excuse-making for the SEC, and so, I'm not surprised that there was more, if it wasn't going to be him, it was going to be, Billy Lucci or somebody like arguing for why the ratings being down isn't indicative of the SEC, whatever. But yeah, I understand the point, but I'll ask you this, Barrett and whoever else. Is Montana State better off as a program right now because they made that title game, or would they have been better off never having a chance? Anybody?
Yeah, no, we know.
They're better. They're better off, right? So it's almost like it's not about who wins the title every year. It's almost about like raising other programs up as well. For all those programs that did not appear in the national championship game, do you think they were better off having a postseason? Actually getting to play these games. Do you think that was more beneficial? I do. I think that some teams who don't have a sniff at a national championship, just simply having a playoff game was probably beneficial to that program in some form or fashion. So again, that's more of where I'm coming from. I know that's not where everybody's coming from. Some people are trying to paint it as like, well, this way with an expanded playoff, Alabama won't win every year. Well, that's not necessarily going to be the case. But what it's mostly about is just giving other teams the chance to compete on that stage and have a chance to play against an Alabama. Like, you show that graphic, North Dakota State. Did they only play James Madison or Sam Houston to get there? No, they played some other teams along the way, and those teams had an opportunity, and they didn't beat them. So just like most teams don't beat Alabama, except for last night, That's just part of the deal. But at least those schools had a crack at it, had the opportunity. And I know that's not what some people care about. They just, I don't know. I don't know. It's like more useless games in their eyes or whatever. I could rain on this, but I know we got to go. So
yeah, we got to break. Terrell Bernard coming up next, Baylor All-American linebacker. I agree with all of what you're saying, by the way. It does better. Other teams getting a chance is better than not getting a chance. But coming up next, Terrell Bernard, Mack Rhoades, Baylor AD at 420, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
If you're looking for a new home or trying to sell the one you're in, you need to call my friend Lance Donaldson, a Donaldson family team brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713. Look, it's still a seller's market. The real estate market's crazy. Don't do a for sale by owner. That's just a mistake. That house on my street I've talked about for months now, still for sale by owner, and it's because realtors can't get people in there. You can't, if you don't have a realtor, you're not getting people in there regularly, and it's a house. It's a nice house. Probably get a good deal on it if you had a realtor in there to do that for you. So you need somebody like Lance Donaldson to do that for you. So give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
American Bank has been serving Waco since 1952, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Over the past few years, we've been busy investing in new technology to give you the best banking experience possible. We've also expanded our downtown branch and built 2 state-of-the-art buildings at our Woodway and Bellmead locations. With bright open lobbies plus fast, personal, interactive teller machines, everyone in Waco is now just minutes away from face-to-face banking. Visit us today and see how we're invested in serving you at American Bank. Member FDIC.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'EM125 for a 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'EM200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'EM125 and SICK'EM200.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Here's Luke Altmaier. First down, and he's taken down. And it's Terrell Bernard. And he has 15 and a half career sacks now.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Baylor All-American linebacker Terrell Bernard now focused on his next journey in football, the National Football League up in Frisco working out. Number 5 in the country from 2-7 to unranked. What is it like to have kind of like that validation as the highest ranked Baylor team?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. We had a long journey, and a lot of things going on throughout the season, and it was definitely not easy, but all the hard work paid off, and we finished the season the way we wanted to.
How much does that matter to finish it the way you did, and then also validate it, and as I mentioned, even the number 5 ranking?
Yeah, it definitely mattered. We went into the Sugar Bowl wanting to be winning 12 games, and then finishing as high as we did, through the AP poll. So, that's something very special to us.
So now everything, it's not like it wasn't a business. College football is a big billion-dollar business, but now you're looking ahead to the NFL. What changes for you?
Man, not much. I mean, you still got the same mentality, the same drive. I think I'll be able to take everything that I learned in my time at Baylor and just push it into this next journey. And I know I'm prepared because everybody that I've come into contact there has prepared me for this moment, and so I'm excited for the opportunity.
Playing defense for Dave Aranda, Ron Robert, what would you say to somebody that wants to play defense in college and play it the way Baylor plays it?
Man, I mean, all those guys that you just named are amazing coaches. Starting with Coach Aranda, I think just his mental aspect that he brings to football is very unique, and then Coach Robert's ability to get the best out of his players and to put you in the best situation for your abilities. I think that's what really made this defense special is we had a bunch of different guys with a bunch of different skill sets, and I think the coaches did a great job at putting that on display every week, and kind of letting us be who we are and be the best at what we are.
When did you realize, and was it actually even last year during 2-7, that Coach Aranda was the real deal, and that you could even see, despite the losing, that people were starting to understand him?
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody saw what he could be and who he was during the 2-7 year, and then during this past summer, with some of the changes that he made and how he was running things within the program, I think everybody felt a shift, and we knew we were going to be a good team. It was really just up to us how good we were going to be and how hard we worked, and I think everybody just came together and really understood his message, and we all went in the same direction. I think that's what propelled us to this season.
Did you get him at first?
I can't. No, I didn't, man. He's a little bit different at first than your typical football coach. But whenever you get to sit down and kind of just understand where he's coming from and his perspective on things, I think it makes it a lot easier. And I think a lot of the guys did that, and a lot of guys took the time and really understood, what he meant and who he was, and I think that's what helped us.
Because how unique he is, but because of who he is and what he couldn't do, could that have been part of what happened last year too?
Yeah, definitely. First year coach, especially with a new style that he was approaching coaching with. And then, having to deal with all the COVID things and the restrictions on, just even being in person. I think that played a huge part into, why the season kind of went the way it did. So I'm glad that we got more into a normal off season, a normal spring ball, a normal fall camp, and we were able to play a regular season, and do the things that we did this year.
Dylan Doyle, Matt Jones, Will Williams, Lorando Johnson, Tyrone Brown, Brooks Miller, some of the younger guys that now are next man up, and some of those guys have played a big role in what you guys even did this year. What about the future, the cupboard at linebacker at Baylor?
Man, I'm excited to watch. It's a crazy perspective because, I've obviously came up through a bunch of great linebackers that were older than me and molded me into who I was. So, having the opportunity to see those guys and, to see them grow under the system and, become who they're going to become, I'm just excited to see all of them. Every single one of those guys that you've named are great people, great players, and, I know they'll do great things.
There were times, Terrell, where you used physics, your strength, your quickness, your power, to sometimes manhandle a 300-plus offensive lineman in pass protection. Fearless. What was that like, though, being able to push? And you did that in the Sugar Bowl, and you did that against Texas, and you did that almost every week. What was that like?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I think it comes with a lot of reps and a lot of losses that, people might not see. I think back to, when I was first getting here as a freshman, just getting thrown around, trying to just find my way. And I think, the thing that makes it fun and makes it special now is, just never stop and never gave up, never turned my head away. So I think being able to see it pay off now, and some of the things that happened this year, I definitely credit to the times when I was getting thrown in the ground or getting thrown around and wasn't having as much fun. So it's fun to look back on now.
What can you say is the standard now at Baylor football?
Man, first and foremost, I think it's being a good person. That's something that we preach and something that we really believe in. And the better person you are, the better player you'll be. And I think that's kind of the front lines of who we are. And everybody obviously wants to be a great player. But if you're doing your daily things right, you're living right, you're taking care of your business off the field, eventually that'll translate to on the field. And, eventually the wins will come, everything else will come. So I think that's the standard that's being upheld there now. And, I'm excited for those guys.
How hard is that to keep that standard? How hard was it? In this year's team seemed to have no drama. Basically, I think early in the year, Siaka had to be suspended for one game, and Coach Aranda talked with us a little bit about that. But really, there was no drama that we know of.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where it comes from, like you said. When you can keep the main thing, and, you don't have to worry about external forces, you're not fighting against yourself. You got everybody on the same page with the same mission. You're able to do something special, and that's something that we were able to do this year. We had great leaders, great coaches, and people that kept everybody in line and kept everybody moving towards the same direction, the same goal. And it's crazy to see how far that paid off.
You guys had to deal with something very unique this year when you have an assistant coach in the middle of the year basically move on to a rival in what Coach McGuire got the opportunity to become the head coach, and you and Coach McGuire go way back. How much of a job did Caleb Collins do once he was able to take over that role?
Man, I couldn't. Well, first of all, congrats to Coach McGuire. Joey's a great dude, and I couldn't be more happy for him and his family. But Coach Collins is just a different person. I think his ability to connect with the players and to teach the game of football to players is awesome. Initially he was working with the inside linebackers, so he was a guy that I would go to all the time just for little details here and there of offense or something about the defense that I wanted to know better. He was always one of the guys that I could go to. So seeing him make the transition to working with the outside linebackers and getting them ready for whatever we had after Coach McGuire left. I couldn't be more proud of him, and he's one of the best people in the building, and I'm happy for him and his family, and the opportunities that'll come.
Did that shake you guys a little bit, that situation?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, obviously it was different for everybody. But I think everybody was excited. Joey is loved around the building, around Waco, around the whole state of Texas. So I think everybody was really excited for him to have that opportunity to become a Power 5 head coach. But obviously you're losing that guy too. So guys were upset, but I don't think it took us off our path at all. I don't think it shook anybody. I think more than anything, everybody was just excited for him.
Terrell Bernard with us, Baylor All-American linebacker. How does your body feel? Is it in rest mode? Is it in decompression mode? I know you don't quit working towards the goal of the combine and whatever else. How do you feel?
I feel all right, man. After the game, I was a little beat up. It's been a really long season, but I've been out here in Frisco training. After the Sugar Bowl, we flew back to Waco that Sunday morning, and I actually moved into my apartment Sunday afternoon, and then started the training Monday morning. So it's been kind of a crazy ride, but I'm feeling better now, and excited for the next step.
I would think in a combine setting, all of the testing, you would just freak the thing out. I mean, what you can do. What is it now? Is that mainly you just focus on doing all of those drills almost perfectly? And is there much football that you do over the next few weeks?
Yeah, so that's the main focus is just perfecting the drills and your technique on all the different things that you're gonna be tested on. But we're actually starting actual football drills and position work later on today, because we have the Senior Bowl coming up. So still prepping for that, as well as getting ready for all the combine drills and stuff.
Terrell, you took over when Clay Johnston went down, and there were people who knew about you, but then all of a sudden you exploded on the scene. You picked the fumble up, scoop and score against Oklahoma State, and the rest of it's history. You had to deal with last year's injury. You got dinged up a few times this year. What did Baylor and the support, the fans, and the university mean to you?
Yeah, it means everything, man. Just having the whole fan base behind us, and me specifically, fighting through injuries and just keeping my head down and pushing. I could always feel the support from coaches, trainers, my teammates and stuff. So that definitely helps. But yeah, man, I think Baylor's fan base and everybody associated with Baylor definitely keeps everybody motivated and helps push us to where we want to be.
Do you feel like that you and Jalen and JT and many of the others that have been a part of this thing for so long could write one hell of a book?
Definitely. Yeah, I think throughout our 4 or 5 years here, we've experienced a lot. We've seen a lot. So I think we could have a nice little story go into that. You
ended up with hundreds of tackles at Baylor. You ended up with, I believe, 600 or 700 tackles in high school. What is that like to have the instincts? Yes, you have to be quick and fast and strong and all that, but you have that mentality of being a football player, a baller, as I call it. What's that like?
Yeah, man. I think most of it comes from the film room. I think a lot of it is understanding offense and understanding defense, and where they're trying to attack us, and where the ball is supposed to hit, and all those type of things. And then the next part of it is just the mentality of going and getting the ball. I think that's a part that people overlook sometimes. And if I could talk to any young player, the first thing I would say is, you have to play with great effort if you want to get on the field at any level. So I think just always trying to play 100%, and then, defining and refining your skill set, and, the details of the defense, and the details of, what offensive scheme is trying to do. I think that's what plays a part into all that.
You're going to be drafted. You're going to have a chance to play in the NFL, but do you have really, has anyone really sat down and discussed what they feel you can do?
Nah, not yet, man. I think more than anything, just trying to get into the league, into that next level. Has been a childhood dream since I was, 5 years old, 6 years old. So I think just being so close to that, man, I'm just focused on, trying trying to do the best that I can in preparation for whatever comes next, and just thankful for the opportunity that I've got right now.
Last thing, Alabama, Georgia last night. Georgia wins it, first time in 41 years. Actually, a couple of questions. Can you ever see Baylor play for the national championship? And number two, was there any time last night watching those two teams when you wished it could have been you playing one of them?
Yeah, so to answer the first question, I can definitely see it. I think on both of those teams, you see big guys up front, paving the way. I know y'all have been following and keeping up with everybody that's returning to Baylor for this next year, and a lot of the guys are big guys up front, and that's the thing in football is running the ball and stopping the run. So having big guys pave the way is, just the biggest part of all of that. So, with a whole extra year of development and, technique, scheme, all that stuff going into it, I could definitely see it. And yeah, I think, I was sitting there watching last night, and, you kind of think back to the season and, some of the things that we did and did well, and then some of the things that, didn't go our way. And, I think if we could have a couple games back and do it over, I mean, it'd be awesome to, be in that situation and, play one of those teams.
Proud of you, what you did, what you represented with Baylor and vice versa. Good luck going forward. We'll be in touch as the draft nears, the combine, all of that, but just enjoy life, enjoy the journey and the way you represented and that smile you had and what you overcame. Congratulations, young man.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Terrell Bernard, LaPorte, Texas. Baylor All-American linebacker, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness continues to add more weapons to your getting or staying in shape arsenal with 8 brand new treadmills ready for you to run or walk a mile or 2 or 10. And with the explosion of interest in pickleball with instructors Joe Rosa and Jody Thurman with more courts available. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with large flat screens stretched across the weight room with Wi-Fi available, their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports. Everywhere you look, there's energy, passion, and commitment. New touchless water fountains outside of each locker room, and all the locker rooms with showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts with a youth academy led by pro Britt Coleman. Fitness and tennis merchandise available and a tanning bed. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Masters of Barbecue, kings of crazy good food, and the perfect sanctuary for sports, beer, and barbecue is Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco and also on Highway 84 in McGregor. A menu filled with choices like a great offensive playbook, including 3 meat combos with sides, burgers, and sandwiches, wings, loaded giant spuds, and salads, crazy wings, chicken poppers, big boy fries, and smoking quesadillas, just some of their amazing appetizers. There's Coach Big Ol' Draft Beer or order Zach's spicy Bloody Mary, or Coach's margaritas and mimosas while watching your favorite team play. Great pecan-smoked barbecue, fun atmosphere with attention to detail, including a catering menu, and we'll quote your price to fit your budget. Coach's XXX Smoke on Austin Avenue in downtown Waco, and walking distance to the great places to shop and enjoy, and also the original location on Highway 84 in McGregor. Great food, great price, great fun. Eat where the locals eat.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. This is it. This is when you're going to sell something in May. You have Mother's Day. You have Easter. You have things that go on, weddings. But this is a great time for your business.
Exactly. And one other thing we do that a lot of people don't know is we buy jewelry, heirloom pieces, gold, silver bars, gold bullion, watches, anything you may have that you want to. If you don't want to use it and remake something like I did an estate yesterday, and I looked at 35 pieces, well, they're probably going to sell me back 30 because it's something they're not going to wear, nothing to use. So if you're looking to get a few bucks or to sell something or something you just don't wear anymore, I make my wife go through her jewelry box about every 6 to 8 months, and the things that she doesn't wear on a daily basis, this sounds horrible, but I take away from her and then I'll put in my estate counter, but then that gives me the chance to rebuy her something new moving forward. Instead of looking down 20 years down the road and you have 300 pieces of jewelry, it's something to refresh and make her buy something new along the way.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, here we go. 427. Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. There's a lot to get to, finishing higher than ever before at number 5, Mack Rhoades. But, Mack, let's start with Louisiana Tech. Obviously, that game the next 2 years has been taken off the schedule. Do you have somebody on your radar, and what level of that opponent does it need to be?
Yeah, so one, that was a mutual agreement. Both institutions, no buyout was involved, and we Baylor, like the model of playing an FCS every year, a group of 5, and then a Power 5 or an A5. When we think about the 3 conference games or 3 non-conference games, I should say, and so. 22 and 23, just with the way the existing schedule was, really didn't have an opportunity to do that. So for 2022 and 2023, I think certainly looking at, replacing La Tech with an FCS, we think it's, the right model to be competitive. 12 games is a long season. Obviously, there's a lot that do it. There's one particular conference that does it, and it's been well documented and talked about. And so, and we're trying to find the right game to open up with prior to going on the road at a really good BYU team, next year. And so that was also part of the thinking of it as well. The schedule 24 through 27, we have an opportunity to, stick to that model of an FCS, a group of 5 and an A5. Again, when we think about 3 non-conference games and, having to play 9 conference. Now, we're going to be careful going, 25 and beyond, because Big 12, we're still working on what that scheduling model looks like. So, in 22 we'll have 6 home games, and in 23, we have the potential of 8 home games, and only having to play 4 on the road. So, those are all of the things that went into the decision and thinking about it. Certainly, Coach Aranda and I talking about it.
Yeah, Mack, just to follow up on one thing you said about after 25, do you guys have any headway on that at all? I mean, of what the scheduling is going to be like, or are there still a couple of dominoes that probably need to fall?
Yeah, thank you for asking, Paul. We're in process of kind of flushing that out, and obviously with the Christmas holiday, we took a little break. But there's a small working group. I'm part of that working group. I think there's 4 of us in the conference, 2 athletic directors, and then two other members that are program administrators with football. So there's 4 of us that are working through that. I'd anticipate, as we think about our next Big 12 meetings, that coincide with the basketball Big 12 championships, that we'll have some models to really discuss and drill down. And I'm not sure how long, what the timeline will be from there, but it's a work in progress.
Mack finished number 5 in football. Georgia, the national champs, Bama, Michigan, Cincinnati, future Big 12 team Cincinnati, and then there's Baylor right there at number 5 and 12-2. Your thoughts on a historic finish for the football program?
Yeah, I'm just, I know it's, probably the same things that I've said over and over again, but just really proud of this team. And, proud of Coach Aranda and the staff, but, really proud of our young men, our football student athletes, and specifically, our seniors that have been through so much. And they really led the way, and we're relentless, we're resilient, we're tough, bought in, had to buy in several different times. And throughout their tenure here at Baylor, and they really set an example for the way it should be done and needs to be done for this program to be successful from here on out. And so again, just really excited, and the number 5 ranking is it's just an explanation mark of point on what a great season and what those young men have meant to our program. So I'm fired up, and to finish number 5 is awesome.
The way that Baylor plays football, that doesn't mean at times you can't zing it around, but the style now, the way that you play on both sides of the football, and I saw where Isaac Power announced he's coming back, and the special teams were incredible as well. Does that, in your opinion, give you more stability on how you can remain successful and not the up and down roller coaster that can happen at times with certain programs and styles?
That's a really intriguing question. And I think there's some, Smoak, I think there's some truth to that. When you think about who we are, what we are, in terms of this institution, in terms of our athletics program, what gives us the best chance to win over time. I think you're spot on. I think there's a philosophy in terms of the way we want to play football and the way we think we can be successful, and how we best can recruit to that. And so those are all. Promise you, those are all conversations that we have and we think about. That doesn't mean that we don't want to throw the ball and be excited on offense, because I think there's a component to that and a component to recruiting, and I think we have been, and we continue to will continue to be, but. Defensively, I think we're always going to be really, really solid and really good on that end of the ball or on that side of the ball, and then be able to run, because I think if you can run the ball, there's physicality about your program, there's a toughness about your program that carries you through ups and downs, and I think running the ball a lot like defense, that travels. not necessarily, influenced by weather or impacted by weather. But yeah, we still have to have a component offensively where we're going to be excited and we're going to throw the ball. And, I think you saw a lot of that, play action pass and playing off the run and being able to throw it deep and do some things offensively, that are exciting. And, I would just, go back to how BYU looked, not this year, but the year before last when Jeff was the offensive coordinator and you had a senior at quarterback. That was a team that scored a lot of points. And so we'll continue, obviously, to try to do that.
Mack, based on what we heard about the playoff expansion committee meetings and all that, should we be encouraged, discouraged, or stay the same feeling that we were based on what's come out of those lately?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you the same question because I'm perplexed. I think, look, bottom line, this is my personal opinion. So take it for nothing more than that. But I think the change when you think of the Power Five or the Autonomous Five and the 5 conferences and 3 new commissioners, and not blaming any one individual, but I think because of that change and also because of it having to retrace steps and maybe different philosophy. I think that's a component of it to it, and I do think we're going to get there. If I had to guess and bet, do I think we get there before this contract expires in 2026? I do. I think we have a chance to get there before then. So I'm encouraged and think it's just part of the journey that we're on. And I think the group will get to a point and place in time where everybody's on the same page.
Mack, I know that there's going to be some really great players that are moving on from the football program now. Guys like Terrell Bernard, who we just heard from, and Tyquan Thornton and JT Woods, among others. But your program also got a lot of good news. I mean, 4 out of the 5 starting offensive linemen have announced that they're coming back next year. Christian Morgan said he'll be back. I mean, there's been a couple of others. Isaac Power said today that he'll be back, and Cole Maxwell on the defensive line. So it's almost evened out. But just your thoughts on, having the O-line all kind of come back and what that says about Eric Mateos and Jeff Grimes and what they did on offense this year.
Yeah, you think about just that side of the ball, and certainly we've all talked about Coach Grimes. Jeff has done a great job, did a great job, phenomenal. But the other person that deserves a lot of credit is Eric, Coach Mateos. He's been unbelievable with that offensive line, and those young men have really bought into him, and he's done a great job of not just coaching them, but developing relationships with them and pushing them just to be great in everything they do. And I think you win championships up front. And again, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. If you don't have a great offensive line or defensive line, you got to do a lot of stuff to disguise and smoke and mirrors. But when you are really solid up front on both sides, it gives you a great opportunity to win some games. And so I think, as we think about next year offensively, and because of the commitment of the 4 of 5 so far, I think we've got a chance to be really good on that side of the ball.
Hey, I got a question for you. When, in fact, you have a coach that somebody else, in the example, of course, your former head coach and Matt Rhoades goes to Carolina, there's a buyout, and Carolina has to pay the buyout, whoever it is. And in this particular case, how do they pay out a buyout? Is it a one-time fee? Is it something where every other year? How does that work? I'm just curious. And does that just go straight to the athletic department budget?
Yeah. So, I think there's different ways to do that contractually. For us, that particular, it was a lump sum payment for us, and transfer, wire the money, and lump sum within X amount of days of that coach's departure. Now, the way it's written contractually, you're never putting it on whatever organization he or she goes to. You're putting on it on that individual. That head coach is responsible for paying it. So how do you do that? That's up to that head coach, that employee, and their new employer. So, but I've seen it where you can pay it over 2 years. I don't like that. I think the value of money diminishes. We want it up front. And final part of your question, in this particular case, that went into our athletic department budget reserve fund, and it was timely when we think about having to deal with COVID and all of the lost revenue.
Mack, a big basketball game tonight. Your number one men's basketball team playing host to a really good Texas Tech team that's coming off of a big win against Kansas. Your thoughts on the game tonight at the Farrell Center and the matchup?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fight. I think it's going to be a dog fight. I think they all are, quite honestly, in the Big 12, and had an opportunity to watch that game on TV. Kansas at Texas Tech, and obviously Texas Tech played really, really well. That they're going to guard you. Coach Adams does an unbelievable job, defensively, and so not a lot of easy buckets. You're going to have to fight, scratch, and claw, and players are going to be on the floor, and so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great basketball contest, and look forward to tonight.
Thank you, Mack. Appreciate your time. I'll see you tonight at the Farrell Center.
Appreciate you, gentlemen. Take care.
Mack Rhoades, yes, sir. Director of Athletics at Baylor, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. The coaches poll, the college football coaches poll has come out. Georgia 1, number 2, Alabama. Michigan is, you want to put this on your off the radar? That's Michigan fine. 3, Cincinnati 4, Ohio State 5, and then Baylor and Oklahoma State at 6 and 7. So Ohio State did not play for, I'm not arguing with it because it's a poll, whatever, and I was expecting that to even be the AP. But my question about Ohio State is this. They didn't play for the conference championship game, so they obviously did not win a conference championship, and they have one less win.
Yeah, but Smokey, they're Ohio State. They're allowed.
If these two teams lined up, the Ohio State would win. Yeah, shut up, media. I'm so sick of the stupid media. College football media sucks. Let's not expand the playoff because there might be too many blowouts, even though there's blowouts anyways. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. I mean, come on now.
What did they do? Not what would happen if.
No.
What happened?
College football is the absolute worst about two things. One, determining a champion and how to do so. Although I think it worked out well last night. I mean, I think Georgia was a very worthy champion, and if Alabama had won that game, they'd be a very worthy champion. But, as far as like being in agreement on how to end the postseason, they can't seem to find common ground there and come to an agreement. But, these polls, too, I think there's far too many media people that vote on who they think's the better team versus who actually went out and proved it. And I think there's something to be said for results. Yes, year in and year out, Ohio State's a better team than Baylor. I mean, 9 years out of 10, they're going to beat Baylor, if not 10 out of 10. But this year, one team proved more than the other. Baylor proved more than Ohio State. I'm not even arguing simply that matchup, like just Ohio State in general. What did they do to be worthy of top 5? I mean, what did they do? Like, what did they do to earn that ranking?
Lost at home to Oregon. They lost to Michigan, got beat up by Michigan, And then they had a thrilling Rose Bowl against a Utah team that was ranked right outside the top 10.
Who lost their quarterback midway through the, late in the game. So, I mean, it's not even a picking on Ohio State thing. Ohio State's a very good program, but, this is why we have the same polls every year. This is why I can tell you who the top 5 are next year in college football, and it won't be that different from the rankings that were released today. Go ahead, put Georgia there, put Alabama there, put Clemson there, put Ohio State there, and it's just a matter of who you want to be number 5. But that's what it's going to be. It's going to be those 4 and then somebody else, and we've talked about the lack of parity. I mean, there's nothing to do to really change up Ohio State, and their success, but I think that's everybody has their own way of doing things, but man, the media just loves the big schools so much. They really do, and there's not really much that they can do that's ever going to be like. You lose games if you're Ohio State, it's treated differently than if you lose games at other schools. Yeah. And I think that's also stupid. And why? It's almost like you set it up the way you want it every year, and then it's already built into where, oh wait, Ohio State can't fall in the top 10 because they started at 4. And that's what we do, and we do it every single year. And every year it's the same. Top 5.
Another stat to bring up was Baylor's record inside the top 25, 4-1 to compare to 2-2.
Yeah.
If you really look at it.
Okay, we've got to also stop as college football, rankers or whatever going, if this team played this team, did they play each other?
Yeah.
No. Okay, so what did happen? What benchmarks did these teams hit?
When you go into a trial, can you win a trial by something that you can't prove?
No. You can't.
You have to have evidence, right?
Yeah.
You have to have laws and evidence and whatever there is. All right.
The eye test. Now we bring that in.
When we come back, Craig Smoak and Off the Radar. Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They got a lot of great deals going on right now over at Richard Carr, and the savings are there to be taken advantage of. They've got a lot of great deals and a lot of premium pre-owned cars and trucks as well as new models as well. But for those who have been waiting, cars and trucks are coming. And if you've been waiting to buy a new GMC, Buick, or Cadillac, right now is the time to contact Richard Carr Motors, as they're receiving deliveries of new cars and trucks each week. So get on their inbound vehicle list and you can get your new car or truck as they arrive. Plus, buy a car now and get 0% financing for 72 months for qualified buyers. GMC Buick Cadillac, Richard Carr GMC Buick Cadillac has 11 SUV models to choose from with dozens of trim options for those in looking for a new SUV or a pre-owned SUV. They are the one-stop shop to find the perfect SUV for your needs, whether it's the fun and nimble Buick Encore or the sophistication and luxury of a Cadillac Escalade. Richard Carr has the SUV you need, starting at $24,000. So call now, come by now, or go online to find the perfect SUV for your family. Trust the good local people you can count on for over 20 years in Central Texas. Proud Wacoans and proud Baylor Bears. Log on to richardcarr.com today. Call now or go see them now off Highway 6, the Imperial exit.
1, 2. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco is a hidden gem. They've got a great selection of spirits, wine, and the most extensive selection of craft beer in Waco in their gorgeous walk-in fridge. And they have an amazing array of high-end bourbons like Pinhook, Weller, Buffalo Trace, Brush Creek, Hotel, Garrison Brothers, Thomas S. Moore, Hooten Young, and Bardstown. Great customer service and a convenient and speedy drive-through window. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
The secret to living your best life is pizza, obviously. Golden crust made from scratch, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and the toppings, crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, bacon. That's called a dream team. Find everything you need to live your best life and more at Marco's Pizza. Owner Bob Mock has been delivering pizza since 2001 and is the proud owner of 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to be open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar. Brought to you by Pickup Outfitters. Since 1997, we've been outfitting trucks, SUVs, and vans at 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
All right, welcome into Off the Radar, segment we do twice a week to take a look at some stories that might not otherwise get a lot of time or even mention in some cases. We will have some college football in this segment as it sees fit. And we'll start off with some college football actually today. The transfer portal, not that that's typically off the radar all that much, but it is of note today. The college football season has come to a close with last night's national championship game. And today alone, 5 Alabama players have entered the transfer portal. Tight end Jaleel Billingsley, linebacker Drew Sanders. Interesting note about him, he's a Denton guy, former 5-star recruit. And I see a lot of Alabama fans that appear shocked that it's like sharks circling the waters over here.
Yeah, a bunch of people on bikes.
All right, so kind of surprised news, I guess, based on the Alabama fans that I've seen reacting to that. Felt like he was getting playing time or was going to be fine with playing time. Also quarterback Paul Tyson, linebacker King Makuta, and offensive lineman Tommy Brown. All of those guys have entered the transfer portal less than a day after Bama loses. And I just looked at like the 247 transfer portal update, and I don't think that they've updated because I didn't see Drew Sanders' name on there. But whenever they do, today alone, 20-plus players have entered the transfer portal from across the country. Today alone, 20-plus players have gone into the portal. So that's
no wonder. I mean, they haven't updated it because they gotta. I mean, well, if you've got to sit down and do it, you might as well wait until the end of the day.
I guess so. Yeah.
So you can just do it all at once.
Well, I know one thing. Max Olson with the Athletic, among others, they follow that transfer portal, and I mean, that's his job.
Yeah.
Who's in it, who's entered it, and where they going.
Yep.
And then just rinse and repeat every day.
Drew Sanders is a big name that's entering the transfer portal, especially for the folks who followed him here in the state of Texas, and the same goes for Latrell McCutcheon, a 4-star wide receiver at Oklahoma, or a defensive back at Oklahoma. From Austin LBJ, he's going to be entering the transfer portal. Announced that today. So corner from the state of Texas going off into the portal. Maybe Baylor takes a look at him. I'm sure Texas will take a look at him, although they typically have a bunch of defensive backs. But, those are just a couple of the names that stood out to me. But 20-plus players today alone have entered the transfer portal.
Don't you know that there are personnel people, operations people, and even maybe some head coaches that have been checking that portal knowing after Georgia, Alabama played, there would be a little bit of not a drip, but a little bit of a floodage. That's not the right word. A flood of great talent, no matter who they are.
Yeah, sure. By the way, on Drew Sanders, who's 6'5", 232,
he's
by the
a big
way.
Kid.
He had offers from everyone you'd want, including Baylor. He had a Baylor offer, which would have been silly for them not to, considering that, he was right down the road in their state. But everybody offered him. I mean, everybody offered him. So this is going to be one that would probably be hard to whittle down to what if it was, okay, Alabama wasn't the spot for me, who are the next 4? Well, who's the next 19 or 20 that all offered him? So, maybe.
The big boy, man, 6'5", 244. Ryan's a great school to come out of. Golly, he played a little bit. He played a little bit.
So he'll be a popular target, I'm sure, in the transfer portal, and maybe comes back closer to home, maybe sticks in the SEC. Can do both, actually, with one school right now. But, he's a big-time talented player, as is Latrell McCutcheon. So both of those guys on the move after last night's game, and 2 of 20-plus that have entered the portal just today alone, and it's not even 5 o'clock just yet. The Giants, some NFL news, have fired Joe Judge, according to Josina Anderson.
Wow.
She had that within the last hour or so. But Joe Judge
not
is
surprised,
out in New York.
But it took a day. I don't know if you read. I'm not always a big fan of Sally Jenkins. Dan Jenkins, his daughter, writes for the Washington Post, or one of the 2 Washington papers. She crushed him. Because some things he said last week about Washington, a franchise that's messed up, but a franchise that had tragedy the last 2 or 3 weeks involved. Also, he made fun of the players, the 2 Alabama guys going at each other, Payne and the other defensive linemen are so good. And he just kind of scoffed at that. Well, we're not at least fighting and throwing fisticuffs at each other. And they were humiliated by a bad football team on Sunday.
Well, he's
clueless.
Running quarterback sneaks on 2nd and 11 or whatever he's doing.
That's because he didn't want to have to face that defense.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And look, the Giants' last 3 coaches have been Ben McAdoo, Pat Shurmur, who's actually a really good coordinator, and now Joe Judge, who I'm sure will go back to Alabama where he'll work for Nick Saban. Maybe he'll take over for Bill O'Brien. But of the coaches fired, I think Vic Fangio might have gotten a bit of a raw deal in Denver, but they maybe just want a philosophical change, especially with probably trading a quarterback. Mike Zimmer was probably time in Minnesota. Just
I think so.
He knew he was on his way.
Yeah, just time. Matt Nagy and Joe Judge, you got to get rid of those guys. Urban Meyer, we've been through that ad nauseum, and the only one that doesn't make sense to me is Brian Flores. Other than the Dolphins don't know what they're doing, and Brian Flores. If I'm the Giants, I'll call Brian Flores right now.
All right, he will be hired. Whoever's hired in this next group that's hired, he will be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and in his case, he's very fortunate that second half of the season. I mean, because it was if they would have fired him halfway through the season, people would have been like, okay, fine. But then the Miami closed on the run that they did, and that made it a little bit more of a weird decision.
He's the first coach in the history, I think, of the NFL. I thought Gil Brandt put this up, to be fired after having a 7-game winning streak during the season of which he was fired.
Yeah, and the Tua thing, that's still not just 100% just the future by any means. And Xavier Howard's done well there, former Baylor, cornerback, has carved out a nice little career in Miami. He also, though, had kind of a, some of these people out there with social media will post like the random thing, and because they want you to try to read through their words or whatever. And sometimes it's absolutely nothing, and sometimes it's like really in reference to something. So I don't know. Like he posted a picture today, and a bunch of Dolphins fans took that as like, "Oh my God, please don't go," and then some others took that as just it being just a post of a picture. But we'll see on that front because they'll have a new head coach, and maybe that new head coach wants to unload Xavier Howard's salary, or maybe he wants to build around him on defense. I don't know, but yeah, the Brian Flores one was the most curious given the way that he did finish. Joe Judge, by the way, got 2 seasons in New York, went 10-23. And they're obviously in the hunt for a general manager as well, right? So they're doing the whole
he
front
retired
office
Gettleman.
renovation.
That's such a bad division. Cowboys have given it at least some glitz, and it used to be just glitz, but they've given them some toughness as well with who they are this year. But that division is just embarrassing.
It really
how
is.
bad it is. You have one team, and last year, remember, an under 500 team won the damn thing.
Yeah, but by the way, just saw this tweet about Joe Judge. Ian Rappaport says that they met for 2 days trying to decide what to do about Joe Judge and finally pulled the trigger. And they also, Dave Gettleman's retired. Matt Miller makes a great point, who we've had on their show, NFL draft scout Matt Miller, says when no GM candidates want to work with your coach, this happens.
Yep.
Because he's certainly a coach that – the reason Bill Belichick is so good is he's not governed by his emotions. And Joe Judge, who's in the Belichick tree, clearly was governed by his emotions a lot this year. And you can't be that effective when you're not like one of the things I do think I like about Mike McCarthy is the Cowboys head coach not really seem to be governed by his emotions. His feelings don't matter. That's why I like Brian Flores. His feelings don't matter. What works right now?
Yep, so Joe Judge is out, and we will see who the Giants go and replace. By the way, you ran down their last 3 head coaches, and that is the most vanilla, bland list of coaches, like Joe Judge and Pat Shurmur and
Ben McAdoo.
And Ben McAdoo. Like,
Ben McAdoo looked like he sold watches in his jacket on
you don't,
Fifth Avenue. Like,
doesn't mean you gotta, just because you're New York doesn't mean you need like an 80s character from a New York movie, but I feel like that's who that's been gracing their sidelines here lately. Meanwhile, great news for the Senior Bowl participants. Got 2 winning staffs heading your way. The Lions and Jets coaching staffs will be coaching the Senior Bowl.
Wow.
Boy, that'll really improve these players' play ahead of the NFL draft. But
big deal for those staffs, though.
I actually like Robert Saleh, the coach of the Jets.
Yeah.
I think he'll be good. I think he needs time, and that organization needs to let him implement his style. I really like Dan Campbell. I really enjoy Dan Campbell. I don't know how long his style will work in the NFL, but I think that for a Senior Bowl and like a rah-rah coach who's going to teach physicality, Dan Campbell's there. Aaron Glenn is the defensive coordinator. So I think there's some good there for the Lions. It's just for the Senior Bowl, I mean, they need players.
Yeah, and they'll be picking highly. So getting a good up front.
Second, I believe.
Yeah, close look at all these prospects. Both the Jets and Lions need all the help that they can get. But I'm with you. I think the coaches are actually not that bad. It's just the organizations themselves are absolute
It seems like half of them in the NFL are just
they really are. Like, we talk about college football, the has and the have-nots, but I'd say, in the NFL, it's not that far away, the has and the have-nots, except for in the NFL, all you got to do is just draft better. In college football, you can recruit better, and that's still not good enough because the other team's recruiting even better than you are. And you're just always behind the 8 ball. In the NFL, you got a fair playing field, but these 2 organizations just never, ever, ever get it right in any way, shape, or form. And by the way, one note with these coaching staffs is when you watch the game, I don't believe that these 2 will be like on the sidelines because apparently during game week, they actually will promote someone from their staffs, or they'll promote their staff's assistants into leadership roles. So that's something they're doing a little bit differently. Is it won't be just straight up head coach versus head coach. It'll be like promoted assistants during the game week. So I don't know, just a little twist on what they're typically doing. Elsewhere, let's see here. UFC 272 coming up this weekend. I just seen a commercial. Big main event. Max Holloway fighting Alexander Volkanovski. Big rematch between these 2 guys for the title. And it's already over because Max Holloway's having to pull out of the big event this weekend. So Brett Okamoto of ESPN announcing that after Dana White made it official earlier today. He had announced the fight and said it was going to set up a trilogy. And Volkanovski won the trilogy fight. Volkanovski won the first 2 fights by decision in both cases, unanimous and then split. He's currently the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter, and Holloway was looking to get some measure of revenge. But, yeah, now that's off the table. So that's part of the fight game that's just one of those things you have to cross your fingers. It's almost like sports teams with COVID have had to learn this. And it's in the UFC, it's always like this, but probably even worse now with COVID. But you just got to hope your guy doesn't break a foot in training or, twist a knee or whatever could happen, because more often than not, these are always training injuries and guys are just doing their final tune-ups and something goes wrong. So, yeah, Max Holloway out of the main event.
All right, the thing that I'm going to say about that, I know is that those guys are so tightly wound that they can. It's like a guitar string. How quickly they could probably have something go wrong. They are. Those are some tough son of a what.
Yeah, what is it? The thing that Art brought, the freakier the tweakier. That's what he used to say about guys like Corey Coleman,
Katie Cann.
Like those real, what do they call it? Thin. Quick twitch muscles, I guess, is what he used to talk about. But yeah, the freakier, the tweakier. That's what he used to talk about with big time players and like hamstrings and things like that, interrupting their play. ESPN is looking at doing a Manningcast style Sunday night baseball show.
I've heard about this.
Yes. So with the success of the Manning brothers, Eli and Peyton doing their thing on Monday nights, Alex Rodriguez and Michael Kay look like they will be doing a Sunday night Manningcast style baseball show for Sunday Night Baseball. Obviously, Michael Kay is the Yes Network voice of the Yankees. Also hosts the number 1, I believe, still rated afternoon show up in New York City. Really has come a long way. I like him. I like listening to Michael Kay, and I think he does a good job with the games. But, the name of the new program, Sunday Night Baseball with K-Rod. So Michael Kay and A-Rod.
I think, and just everybody has thoughts on A-Rod. And look, let's face it, he's probably as insufferable a D-bag as you think. But he's really good at being an analyst. He's really good on TV. He's kind of made for that job. Although I do think that saying that part of the reason the Manningcast works is that nobody hates the Mannings.
Right.
They're beloved. They're football's first family. All the Mannings. We love them all. We love Cooper Manning. We love Olivia. One day we'll love Arch. That's what we do as Americans.
Some fan bases already do.
Yeah, we love them, and they've earned that because that's the way that they carry themselves. A-Rod is going to have a bigger mountain to climb because, again, unlike Peyton and Eli, I don't know. There's a whole lot of people that love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you won't have to get it every week. It'll be just 8 Sunday night baseball telecasts during the regular season. They'll also be on site for some of these broadcasts and will be, in other cases, from the home studios, I guess, up in Bristol or New York, wherever they choose to do. Probably New York, I guess, with Michael Kay being based there, but who knows. Rodriguez and Michael Kay will get the Sunday Night Baseball Manningcast style broadcast. All right, elsewhere, a quick note on Geno Smith, former West Virginia star quarterback. I just got to touch on the stupidity. He got arrested, suspicion of DUI, after getting pulled over going 96 and a 60. Which I guess you could drive down I-35 and probably see that more often than not. But, man, that's just so stupid. Like, I have no sympathy for being drunk and going 36 miles per hour over the speed limit. So that's according to the arrest report. He was arrested early Monday morning following the Seahawks' return from Arizona after their finale. Detected a strong odor of intoxicants, observed that the driver had bloodshot, watery eyes. Smith said that he had some wine earlier in the night, but had stopped drinking about 90 minutes before he was pulled over. He said no to the breathalyzer, and they issued a search warrant for a blood draw. So, Geno Smith celebrated the big Seahawks finale by going and getting arrested for DUI. Just a boneheaded move. Don't drink and drive, please.
Yeah, I saw
please
him
don't drink and
tweet
drive.
something out, which is not a good idea.
Uber exists, people.
So especially after the story this year with
Henry Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs. Like, are you kidding me,
Before
dude?
you make any kind of opinions, and he wanted to, not a good idea. You get in trouble, eat it, do whatever you have to do. But I saw where he tried to defend himself a little bit on Twitter. Wait till the truth comes out. Well, The 96 and a 60 alone is stupid.
Like,
who would ever do that?
Was the radar broken on the cop's gun? Is that what we're going to claim? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how are we going to wait to see more information? Like your foot, suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds and you couldn't lift it? I mean, whatever, dude. You're going 96 and a 60. So unless that somehow changes that piece of information, then I don't care to hear whatever else you have to say. And finally, I mentioned the baseball nude on Sunday Night Baseball. Should also follow up the big, K-Rod Sunday Night Baseball cast. So they actually have to have games to broadcast to cover and do the Michael K. and Alex Rodriguez mega cast. And so far, we don't look like we're having a baseball season.
No,
so
they're supposed to meet.
Yes, they're meeting on Thursday. First big negotiation since they began the lockout. They will resume work and bargaining on core economics later this week. The lockout started on December the 2nd, and there apparently will be some new proposals about the core economics and competitive issues like the draft lottery and so on and so forth. So this will be the first meeting in a little over a month, and we will see if it clears any of the air with a baseball season. I mean, pitchers and catchers start reporting here in about, 3-4 weeks? Not that far away at all. So, yeah, we will see. But they're at least going to be, bellying up to the negotiation table. So there's a few things that are off the radar.
Thank you, Craig. By the way, my A-Rod story, when he was with the Rangers, and the access to Major League Baseball training camp is unbelievable. It's very good. Now, it's changed a little bit. But I remember walking up to him, sat there, looked him in the eye, said, I'd like to have a chance, and he just walked right by me. Now, Kevin Brown did that one time, and Kevin Brown was an angry person. A-Rod was just arrogant. But, I could get Ivan Rodriguez, Hall of Famer, my boy Juan Gonzalez. Nolan Ryan would do stuff, but not A-Rod in that spot.
Well, I'll tell you, the only problem we ever had was
Adrian Beltre was the best.
Adrian Beltre was happy to do it. The only one you and I ever had was Ian Kinsler.
Yeah.
Kinsler was for some reason too good to talk to us for very long.
Yeah, baseball guys were a little different. There's no question. All right,
See,
Craig.
if I was sitting there doing that interview, I would just be like, it would be so obvious that I would not be, like if Ian Kinsler was sitting there trying to big time me, I would just be like, dude.
We had, I think there was the thing we gave each other a look and be like, I'm done with this clown.
Oh no, the famous ticket bit is the Kenny Lofton interview. The ticket. They were interviewing him one time, and it was Mike Reiner was doing the interview, and Kenny Lofton was just giving them like 2- and 3-word answers. I mean, it was like the spring training phone interview, and like 3 or 4. I mean, and this was years and years and years ago, and Reiner's obviously semi-retired now, but they still use it as a drop, like parts of it, because it was such a comedic moment. Because basically, a few minutes in the interview, and it's obvious that Kenny Lofton didn't want to be doing it. Mike Reiner just on the air goes, "Well, Kenny, it's abundantly obvious you have about as much interest in this interview as we do at this point, and so just let him go." And it's like they ended it right there. Like but he got his shot in at the end. Like clearly you don't want to be here. Well, we don't want you, and. That's lived on, but everybody's got one if you've been in this business long enough.
That whole infield that year, I mean, we had Andrus for like 25 minutes.
Yeah,
it was forever long, and happy to talk to us. But
baseball doesn't need good PR. Come on, they're doing fine.
The only time I ever did what Mike Reiner did, Marty Blake used to be an NBA scout, kind of a draft guy, and he's a hell of a basketball man. He's a general manager of the Hawks, and I remember I did a comment, had him on. And we took calls back when you could. It's different now. And he answered a couple of questions, and the guy called in. It was not a bad question. He was just arrogant to everybody who called. And then he kind of popped off at a question. I said, "We're done." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "We're done." Done. Hung up on it. And I got more feedback on that because he was arrogant as hell on what he was trying to act, and there was no need for it. So why even continue to act like we should continue with the segment? All right, when we come back, some of the other transfer portal names. Washington State's quarterback, obviously we mentioned Incarnate Word's quarterback has made a decision among some other, and they're kind of tied in together. And also today, John McClain joins us at 5:30 on Sikkim 365 Radio. Pioneer Steel and Pipe. Braden Embry runs the marketing department. I remember sending him a text before the Sugar Bowl. Actually, it was the day of the Sugar Bowl. It was the first, and so I sent out invoices to all of our great sponsors, at least the ones that I have, and Braden was one of them, and we ended up, there was an invoice, and it's advertising and all that. That's not what we cared about. We were talking about Baylor and the run that they've had in football, and Braden lives and dies with what's going on with Baylor. And he's like, he's talking about how Aranda has built this so differently, taking part of what Matt Rhule developed, also bringing back perhaps what even some of with Art Briles or whoever, and that's what good coaches do. But he started discussing how the foundation at Baylor football, the standard, the culture, the personality was so strong. That's what they are as a business. They've been in business since 1943. They're building a brand new facility that will allow their distribution time and efficiency to get better because it's a big, large, massive building, and what they have now is pretty good. Both locations in Waco and Bryan, but there's a brand new facility going up in Waco, and Pioneer Steel and Pipe. Heavy-duty metal, steel, pipe, and much more. They can help you with metal buildings, help build things. They've done what they've done since 1943 because of great product and incredible customer service, and they've built things perfectly because they have survived all of the ups and downs in the last 79 years. PioneerBoys.com.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links. And you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from Select, Choice, or Prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers, and dogs and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Biggest third down in Bryce Young's career. You need 10. Play clock at 4. From the pocket. Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. All the way to the end zone. And Georgia is going to conquer the Crimson Tide.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Within an hour, tip at the Farrell Center, number 1 ranked defending national champion Baylor and 19th ranked Texas Tech. Head coach Mark Adams, who's a Tech grad, by the way. And they had the win against Kansas this past Saturday with a couple of really good players out, and then kind of a touch and go on who's available for them tonight. Austin Massey, who I've been noticing, who listened to our interview earlier today with John Jakus, Baylor assistant coach, was referring to what Coach Jakus was bringing up as how Baylor would do this and that, and he mentioned it to us yesterday. Maybe it was McCullough that they felt like might be back, and the Jeremy Sohan, even the note that John Rothstein had from Scott Drew that it was a game-time decision. I don't think Scott Drew's playing mind games. At the same time, I do not expect him to play, and if he does, it's freaking almost a miracle because of how bad that injury looked in their win on Saturday at TCU. So the first thing I thought about is, they got really lucky last year. And they had great health throughout the year. Now, they had the COVID flare-up, but they really, really, really were very fortunate when it comes to players being hurt.
Yeah, they were. So knock on wood real quick.
Yeah.
For Scott Drew's sake, not mine.
Yeah.
By the way, this would have been an off-the-radar note, and I just saw John Machota mention it. But the NFL is recapping the achievements from this year, I guess, broadcasting and all of that. CBS Sports included this from Machota. CBS Sports included the Thanksgiving Day game between the Cowboys and Raiders, most watched regular season game on any network in 31 years. It averaged 40.8 million viewers.
Jesus.
Cowboys and Raiders, most watched broadcast on any network in 31 years. So the opposite of college football. They're going in a different direction.
The college football is saying they had 22.8.
But it's the second lowest number since they began in 14.
Yeah. But you look at ESPN PR Suite, it's 22.8 million people. Don't pay attention to the fact of
It's 5 different broadcasts, and all of that spread. It's the best number since 2020, and it's like we're in 2022 barely. Like that's not really. I see a lot of that nowadays of like the best since 2 years ago, and it's like that's not really saying a whole lot.
Yeah,
is it?
The trend is that it's going lower, and Tim Brando, of course, had a lot of opinions on it yesterday, and I didn't think about this until I saw his tweet on Sunday about the college football playoff on a Monday instead of why not play it like last Thursday.
See a lot of that,
and
or
it would have been more highlighted. But and how they've lost the month of December. But he was right on the numbers. The numbers were down, and at the same time, they need a facelift in some way. They need a goose. Right, there's a little pinch to get them going again.
I do wonder why Monday night. Like why? Well,
there's no NFL game.
Well, okay.
And that's the only reason I can think of.
But that's a pretty good reason. But there's no NFL game on Monday night because they moved off of Saturday, and the NFL got it.
I don't think they rarely ever play Monday night games the last week of the season.
Yeah, that's true.
Because everyone needs to at least have an end date, even though there were games on Thursday and a games on Saturday. I think you want everybody not to go another day into it because if you might have 2 teams on Monday Night Football that play on Saturdays in the playoffs.
Well, I saw a lot of people talking about the Monday night thing being their their big beef with it being a late kick on a Monday night. It's just like, why not let people enjoy it? Why not have it on Saturday night? Since we all watch college football on Saturday to begin with, hell, Friday night would be better than Monday night, but for some reason they love that Monday night time spot. I don't get it, nor do I dig it, because I think that like you just start off the week and then it's boom, it's just over. Like the whole week of buildup you had. Then there's a weekend, and the NFL playoffs takes over and takes all the attention, and then by the time the game rolls around, it's like, oh, yeah, there's a national championship game tonight.
The other thing about having it on Monday night is, am I going to plan my social calendar around it? Am I going to get a bunch of people together? Are we going to watch it together? Or am I going to do what I did last night? What we all did is just sit around and watch it in our house alone.
Exactly.
And
it was not a gathering like a Super Bowl party.
Yeah, it's not. They need to make it, that's where they need to make it an event.
Yes.
Make it an event for everybody to watch it, not just the people there or the people who care who are Alabama or Georgia fans. Make it an event to where it's like, oh, hey, I couldn't agree more with everything that Tim Brando said yesterday about taking back December. And then
I am not, and I am absolutely maybe the only one on earth, but these halftime, pregame performances and entertainment.
All right, Paul.
At least last night.
Start lashing out the band and pageants and stuff.
At least, look, last night they just played a music video from Katy Perry.
Yeah, but okay, Katy Perry's a very popular singer. I understand who she is. She's sung a lot of great songs, but they tried to get her to dance like she was J-Lo. That's not her strength.
You already watched more than I did, because I couldn't tell you a single thing about it.
I was like, who the hell is this? Because I'm not good about recognizing all that. But why is it that there has to be something like that for every special event?
You know what was funny? When she introed the video, she's like, it's finally here. And I thought, was I supposed to be waiting for this?
Yeah.
I didn't even know it existed.
Okay, I'm sure it probably feels that way to her. It's a labor of love for Katy Perry, but I mean, for the rest of us, were we supposed to be like, oh my God, I'm glad you finally got this. It's not like the Batman,
or John Wick 4.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait for the Batman. I cannot wait for the Batman.
Didn't that one what was the one that just came out?
It was
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's coming out in a couple months. But it's going to be freaking amazing. I have not been looking this forward to a movie in several years, easily. I'm a big Batman fan.
You're going to have to take the day off?
If I can, I might.
We might
want to watch it a couple times.
Shut this thing down.
I mean, I really
Craig and I will go at noon.
I don't get excited about much,
just
as we
binge
know.
watch it?
Yeah,
just watch it.
But this is actually something I am very fired
up about. When is it coming
out?
March 4th.
Okay. Roger Dodger on the chat room. Doesn't Bama have backup blue chippers at wide receiver? Hard to believe they don't have quality backups. But when you lose, and listen, in 2009, they knocked Colt McCoy out of the game against Texas. You make the decision, the discussion about Matt Corral at Ole Miss. Injuries are a part of it, and Alabama's won games where they have knocked people out or who have been injured. The Jamison Williams injury was big, non-contact. Those things are horrible.
But they have experience.
Yeah, they have the 84. The guy is Aji, I think his name. Phenomenal talent. You could see it dripping from this long, lanky, angular body, and he made a big catch in that game, but he also dropped the ball in that game. And I think there's a route issue. There's a couple of young freshmen that just weren't quite there.
Yes, they're talented, but guess who else is talented? Georgia's defense.
Yeah.
So they've got defensive backs that can knock him off a route that never happened to him in high school. He'll be better for getting knocked off his routes. Ja'Cory Brooks, another guy.
Freshman.
Really good, really talented. They've got talented guys, but the experience that Mechie and Williams had that they did not have in that game late last night, that's big even for Alabama because you can't just make it up.
I'm looking forward to see what JoJo Earl, kid from Alito. Here's another freshman. I mentioned 84, and I know I should know his name. But yeah, they'll be fine. This was a year in which they really were supposed to settle a little bit. Maybe, in fact, not make the playoff, which they wouldn't have if Auburn had not run out of bounds. Hey, Billingsley, the tight end you mentioned that's in the transfer portal, 17 catches, 256 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And they throw to the tight end about as well as anybody. Baylor does well, but they do have some dudes at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, injuries are part of the game. That's the deal. I can understand everybody saying, well, if Mechie and Williams were healthy, then, Alabama wins that game or something. I don't know. I mean, I need to see them actually go out and do that to assume that. But I can understand the frustration for some Bama fans because of those injuries, and just glad that, the Williams injury, the way that he landed, the fact that he was even able to get up and walk away, was kind of a miracle just based on how bad his knee looked when it hit the ground with all the weight going the wrong direction. So I didn't never see an update on him.
Yeah, I think
it looked like a torn ACL based on what they were saying, even though he was walking and stuff.
Dr. Addix, who played at Baylor and also in the NFL as an orthopedic surgeon, he kind of just said, based on the video, which doesn't mean he knows, he felt like based on what he saw with the knee that it most likely was a torn ACL.
But yeah, and you can go in circles on it. Well, if this guy wasn't hurt, and you brought up the perfect example. I mean, the Colt McCoy injury. So right there, that negates it. And I'm sure there have been others, obviously in the decade since Alabama won that decade plus now that Alabama won that Texas game. But yeah, that was just a shame. You wish everything could be straight up, head up, your best, our best. There was still a lot of great out there last night, though, and I enjoyed who was out there.
I mean, I love watching them play, and it was at times kind of a little bit boring, but at the same time, a lot of the teams made each other boring, and the talent on that field is incredible. And you know what? I asked Terrell Bernard, if you go back and listen to the interview, could you see you guys playing one of those two teams if you were watching the game? And also, can Baylor get to that point to win a national play for one? He mentioned not only who they have back at defensive line, but who's coming back, who's decided to come back. And they're building up a little bit of that depth of size and athletic freaks on the defensive front.
Not getting into a playoff till you beat TCU.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, when we come back, John McClain, Hall of Fame writer, his thoughts about some of these NFL coaching changes, the vacancies, and more. David Culley, is he going to survive? Sikkim 365 Radio. Don Humidor and Coffee Beans, I was there a week or two ago. They are loaded up. Their 48-foot walk-in humidor loaded up with all the great brands of cigars from around the country and around the world. Elite brands. Macanudo, Ashton, Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Padron, Cohiba, and much, much more. Fresh coffee beans, they'll grind them for you right in front of you. Cowboys apparently one of the big top favorites, maybe just because we're in Texas, but also because of the flavor, the taste, and the aroma. And also CBD products like Vita Dreams that helps you maybe fall asleep a little bit quicker. You toss and you turn. You don't feel like you're getting the full night's sleep. Perhaps Vita Dreams gummies will allow you to get that extra 30 to 45 to an hour and a half of sleep that you're not getting right now. Tell Carol, Ashley, and Cheyenne Smokey sent you in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Waco, our brands continue to win awards year after year. The 2021 Ram brand just received first place in the prestigious J.D. Power Initial Quality. The Dodge brand finished second to Ram, and the 2021 Jeep Gladiator is rated first among all midsize trucks. This month, you can get an early start to the new year with the Start Something New sales event, only at Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by, let's be friends.
The year is wrapping up, sports bettors, but BetUS still has your NBA, NHL, college football bowls, UFC, PGA, and of course NFL betting lines up for their 27th year. Live betting on all of it. Log in to BetUS.com today. Use our promo codes SICK'em125 for 125% bonus on cash, or SICK'em200 if you use crypto. So use the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'em125 and SICK'em200.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Baylor men's basketball tonight. Women on the road against Oklahoma tomorrow. I drove to the Farrell Center for a little bit because of that crew that was here yesterday in our studio with ESPN Plus, who's filming Our Time, the documentary series on ESPN Plus of the Baylor men's and women's basketball program. Went over to the Farrell Center, and there was the Texas Tech bus pretty bright and early, mid-morning or so, and I'm sure going through their workout, walkthrough, and shoot-around tonight, 6 o'clock here just around the corner, joined by John McClain, Hall of Fame writer, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Joe Judge, finally gone. What took so long, John?
They wanted to see about hiring a new general manager. The Giants GM, Dave Gettleman, resigned. They know it was coming. They had plenty of time to start planning ahead. They have 2 top 7 picks, 5 and 7 overall, so it's an attractive job. And I wrote a column for tomorrow. It's on our sports website, TexasSportsNation.com. They should pursue Deshaun Watson, and they have a fan base that's totally apathetic now in New York, New Jersey, and if they traded for Watson, that would invigorate the fans and create a lot of attention. But as it is, people up there, they don't care about football with the Giants and Jets being so pathetic.
John, on the Deshaun Watson front, do you expect him to be in the clear legally by the time teams can start trading for him?
Nobody has any idea, Paul. I thought it was going to get done last year. He would not try to reach settlements with his 22 accusers. He didn't do it until the Thursday before the trading deadline when they had a deal with Miami, and owner Stephen Ross said at the last minute, look, I want those settlements, and we're not doing it unless he settles. So he started on a Thursday, and by the Tuesday deadline at 3, couldn't get all of them done, so it was a moot point. When the new league year begins on March 16th, you can make deals, but I think if he did reach settlements, a lot of teams would be interested. And he has a no-trade clause, and he told them he's not going anywhere but Miami. Well, maybe the new Miami coach likes Tua Tagovailoa, although I don't know why he would. Tua hadn't done squat, and Watson's so much better than he is. And I wrote in this column for tomorrow, there was a report that Mack Rhoades interested in interviewing Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator. And if he did do that, could it lead to O'Brien and Watson being reunited in Charlotte, which is 200 miles from Watson's hometown and even closer to Clemson, where he won a national championship?
John, so Joe Judge out in New York, Mike Zimmer out in Minnesota, Brian Flores out in Miami, Matt Nagy out in Chicago, Vic Fangio out in Denver, And I think that's it. But of just the coaching carousel, I know there's a lot of people, a lot of scuttlebutt about Brian Flores because the Dolphins finished so strong. But any surprises, any particular thoughts on what we saw on Black Monday?
Well, what I'm worried about is David Culley. I think it would be grossly unfair for the Texans to fire him after one season based on giving him the worst roster, having to play a rookie quarterback 2 months before he wanted to, and winning 4 games and with a ragtag outfit he was given. I think that would be terribly unfair to him, an injustice. But Nick Caserio and his right-hand man, Jack Easterby, came from the Patriots, and Caserio worked with Josh McDaniels, Patriots offensive coordinator, Gerard Mayo, their inside linebackers coach, and he spent 15 years working with Brian Flores. So I wrote a column about how it would be an injustice, but it certainly won't surprise me if they bring in another member of the New England Mafia.
Well, I want to go to Brian Flores. I know that they didn't have a flawless season. I know they won 7-0 at one point. It seemed like they have a pretty good direction. I know they have the question of what they're going to do at quarterback. Was that one that kind of got away, and how much will that stir up the NFL and the why don't you give black coaches an opportunity, and when you do, why don't you give them more of an opportunity? I like him. I thought he did a pretty good job.
It surprised me, and then I read a column by Armando Salguero at Outkick.com. Armando covered them for the Miami Herald for 30 years. And he wrote, instead of taking a job now, that Flores ought to spend a year reassessing how he treats people and how he deals with people. He went through the different coaches constantly, warred with his coaches. They started slow every year. And when I saw that, and I saw the owner, Stephen Ross, mention communication, it told me the situation in Miami with Brian Flores was just like the situation here with Bill O'Brien, where people just were on eggshells every day. They didn't want to be around him, didn't want to work with him, even though he won 4 division titles in 5 years. So that reminded me of Flores. Hopefully at his next job, he will learn something about communication and how you treat people.
Do you think Bill O'Brien has his eyes on an NFL head coaching job, or do you think he'd like to be a college coach again?
I believe he wants to coach in the NFL. When he came from Penn State, after 2 years, taking a worse situation in football history, he told me that his goal had been to go as a head coach in college to get back to the NFL, which he did with the Texans. And Bill didn't get fired because of his coaching. He got fired because he made some bad trades as general manager, and then he was just blowing up with people. The pressure was getting to him, and I think he wants to come back. He said he doesn't have to have control of personnel. If he's Pinocchio, his nose will grow across the football field. Anywhere he goes, he's going to try to get control of personnel. But he was 10-2 against the Jaguars. He was 6-0 against the Jaguars before Deshaun Watson got here. He worked closely and helped develop Watson. He worked closely and helped develop Bryce Young, and that would be a strong selling point, meeting with Jaguars owner Shad Khan about what he could do for Trevor Lawrence.
John, what'd you make of that Raiders-Chargers game? Raiders getting to the playoffs with Rich Bisaccia. I mean, is it just a foregone conclusion that he'll be back? And just what do you think of the way that Las Vegas was able to overcome the Henry Ruggs situation and the John Gruden situation prior to that and now find themselves in the postseason?
I thought that was as great a way as you could end a regular season as possible. I've never seen a situation where it was a tie, both teams getting the playoffs, and it looked in overtime like Bisaccia was just calling Derek Carr handoffs. He had every intention of finishing in a tie, and both teams made it. And then Brandon Staley, who had a habit of outsmarting himself as a rookie coach, called a timeout. And it looked like Bisaccia said, okay, if you want to call a timeout, we'll beat you, and they did. Now the Chargers are going to be watching on a big screen TV. And winning, going into the playoffs with a winning streak, going to Cincinnati, playing at Paul Brown Stadium. Maybe the dream dies there, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't pull another upset. I don't know how Mark Davis, the owner, could not keep Rich Bisaccia unless he thought he could lure Jim Harbaugh. But I think all this talk about Harbaugh in the NFL it comes from his agent. He had to take a pay cut last year. I think he's probably bitter about that, and I think Harbaugh wants the kind of money Brian Kelly's getting, Lincoln Riley's getting, and I think he'll get it.
Well, but Bisaccia looks like a Raiders coach. He's got that look to him too. And he was at the Cowboys, right, Paul? Special teams guy.
One of my favorite. I wish I could tell the story, but it was off the record when he told it to me. But I laughed so hard when he walked away. I still laugh about it.
Was it about Terrence Williams?
No, it was about an erstwhile Baylor safety.
Oh,
it was trying to play special teams.
Okay, all right. So John, Baylor tonight, number 1 ranked team in the country, hosts a very, very tough to beat Texas Tech. Your thoughts about the Bears unbeaten, another week of Scott Drew and company?
Everybody gets up and brings their A game to play the Bears. TCU did. I was sweating it for a while. Then I see Kansas got beat. The Longhorns got beat. And of course, they held on and they won impressively. Now they're going to get the best that Tech's got. I'm glad the game's in Waco. I hope there's a big crowd there to support that team because they certainly deserve it. And I'm already ensconced in front of my TV waiting for the game to come on to cheer on my fighting Baylor Bears.
All right. Anything out of Alabama, Georgia that you want to discuss that you kind of focused in on?
I was happy for Kirby Smart. His game was a lot closer than people who see the score would think. And Kirby Smart's done a great job there. He finally was able to beat his nemesis and close friend, Nick Saban. And I think that's good for college football. Now, next year, if we could see somebody besides Alabama and Georgia in the final, that would make it a whole lot more interesting.
Thank you, John. Sean McClain,
thank them, guys.
Hall of Fame writer, Houston Chronicle, NFL Hall of Famer, and an NFL Hall of Fame voter, and also writer as well. Speaking of Alabama, Georgia, you see Nick Saban, and he's a no-nonsense guy, and yet he has times when you see a softer side of him. Pat Forty, I'm not a big fan of some of his writing, but he wrote an article about Saban and how he's changed over the years. It's really, really good. I haven't read it yet, other than some excerpts. I did read, let's say 20% of the article, but it's really, really good. Here is, do you have it, Armstrong? This was after the game. Bryce Young and also, the great Williams, am I right? Will Anderson in the post game answering questions, and they've just answered the last question for them. What?
I didn't get an email again.
Will? I think your stuff goes to Armstrong's spam folder.
No, I think he never looks.
No, I look every day before.
All right, I'm going to do this again. All right, I'm going to send it. You shouldn't take more than 20 seconds. This is after the press conference.
I don't know what's going on.
Huh? What? It's not very long either, okay? Yeah. I'm just going to put Bama.
You should just DM him.
Armstrong.
It's so much
know.
simpler.
Here you go. I'm sure you'll get it next tomorrow. All right, so this was it. When you get it, let me know.
Okay.
So these are the players. They're obviously miserable. They just lost. Bryce Young did not have the greatest game. He threw the ball a ton. They got to him, hit him a bunch. And then Anderson's just a phenomenal player. Those are 2 of my top 3 votes in the Heisman Trophy. So the game's over. They've wrapped it up, and Nick Saban's now in the middle of the 2 of them, and they're about to get up and walk away. Let's hear. This is a guy that a lot of people think is like the devil.
Bryce and Will, thanks for your time. We'll let you head back to your locker room.
I'd like to say something. Can I say something?
Absolutely.
These 2 guys that are sitting up here, they're not defined by one game. These guys played great for us all year. They're great competitors. They were great leaders on this team, and they contributed tremendously to the success of this team, and we would not be here without them. All right, and both of them take responsibility for the loss, but both of them contributed in a lot of ways in a positive way to giving us a chance to win and a chance to be here to have an opportunity to win. So I just want to thank them for that and let everybody know how proud I am of these 2 guys. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
You see the respect from them, from the players to Coach Saban. I don't know if you saw this after the Sugar Bowl, But Terrell Bernard, Jalen Petrie, and I don't know, there's maybe another player or two who were up on the podium.
No,
and they were walking away, huh?
It was just those two.
Okay, they're getting ready to leave.
Actually, it wasn't Jalen Petrie, it was Abram Smith and Terrell Bernard.
They're walking away from the podium, and Aranda, as they're walking away, he said, hey, take those. It was the placards with their name on it. And they both grabbed it and said, yes, sir. And that's just, that's for me, that's still a big deal. So that was pretty cool with Nick Saban. Georgia wins the national title. I
mean, both those guys already have a national title, so I don't feel as bad as I would. Yeah. It's like they just won it last year, so I'm not exactly like crying for them.
And I also don't feel like, when will Alabama ever get back?
Yeah, I mean, so they just didn't win it this year, but they did last year. And I know that's tough though, especially because, you know, obviously Georgia and Bama are so closely intertwined, and it's got to feel even a little bit more personal, and especially when you had a lead and, you know, you felt probably pretty good about things after that first half. But, yeah, I don't know why you would think Saban's the devil unless you're an Auburn fan, or, you know, you just hate him because he wins. But besides that, I don't know how you would possibly think he's, you know, a bad guy or anything along those lines. I just don't see that with him.
I think he's grown up like everyone usually tries to do, and you just kind of, you know, whatever the exterior might be, not always. And at times I heard Nick Saban was hard to work for, and he probably is.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are. Doesn't mean they're bad people. This is Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. This month, all about the championship drive. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, hometown team. Of course, Baylor celebrated a Big 12 championship and a Sugar Bowl. So now you can, with a new vehicle from Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco, during the Start Something New sales event, shop for power, performance, reliability, from the selection of the 2022 Ram 1500 Lone Star. Are you planning your next adventure? Choose from range or, of course, a massive array of different brands when it comes, or not brands, but types of Jeep models, including the 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Take home the trophy. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, they have all of these brands that if they were bowl games, they would be New Year's Day bowl games or championship games, because that's what they have. The product is there. Ted Teague and Company, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
American Bank has been serving Waco since 1952, and we're just getting started. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Over the past few years, we've been busy investing in new technology to give you the best banking experience possible. We've also expanded our downtown branch and built 2 state-of-the-art buildings at our Woodway and Bellmead locations. With bright open lobbies plus fast, personal, interactive teller machines, everyone in Waco is now just minutes away from face-to-face banking. Visit us today and see how we're invested in serving you at American Bank. Member FDIC.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brad, what makes you different than anyone else, in your opinion, as far as what Boozer's does?
The fact that I own the jewelry store, anything I need to do, will do, or can do, I can do it. The buck stops with me, whereas a lot of places you have to go up the corporate command and corporate channel. Well, if you come in and want to make a deal, we sit there and we make the deal.
And you can find whatever someone's looking for, correct?
Anything is obtainable. I don't care what brand it is, what size it is, how much it costs, large or small. Anything is obtainable, and we can definitely get that in for you to see, look at, or buy.
Do you have the opportunity if people have to pay things off as far as a layaway program? What about what you have with financing?
Absolutely. We have 12-month no interest financing. We have layaway. If you want to pay with Bitcoin, I can take Bitcoin now. So if there's any way you want to pay for it, we can find a way out to make it work.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
You know what would make this moment better? Pizza. Dough made from scratch and an Italian family sauce recipe pizza. 3 fresh signature cheeses making a melty blanket of perfection pizza. Like loads of premium toppings like crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, and fresh sliced veggies pizza. That's Marco's Pizza. Visit marcos.com and make any moment better. And with 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55, presented by Champion Salon and Barber. To book your appointment, go to championsalonandbarber.com.
Top 5 Stetson Bennett endorsements. Look, he's the national championship quarterback at Georgia.
Did you see the appearance on one of the networks this morning? He was lit up, wasn't he, Armstrong? He was coming off a long night.
Yeah, as well he should have been. The dude's never going to pay for anything he doesn't want to in that region again for the rest of his life. He's the quarterback of a national championship team. Plus, he's got a story behind him. Has been a former walk-on. So these are the things that I can see. And the kind of the Fred Hoiberg thing in Ames, everywhere you go, Fred Hoiberg's got a sandwich or something named after him. These are endorsements for Stetson Bennett. And he could come back next year and he could capitalize this on NAL. Number 5, a burger sandwich pizza shop naming something after him. The Stetson Bennett burger. Maybe the Stetson Bennett pizza has, it's the one with everything on it. I don't know.
Okay, I'm not going to die. It's okay.
But, yeah. I think we're more concerned about the rest of us than you. Right at this point.
I know every one of you is. Believe me. I've gotten those looks and comments.
I mean, I've been dying to get strep and COVID at the same time. I mean, I don't know why I'm freaking out over here. I've been wanting that so badly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that seems like the simplest thing is the Bennett burger or something along those lines.
So, and we're gonna get a little more deeper as we go. Number 4, local Athens brewery.
Yeah,
the 33-18. That was the final score, right? 33-18. The 33-18 brew, or 13s, whatever, could be a special brew that they have just for Stetson Bennett too.
Is there ever been a better Georgia name than Stetson Bennett the 4th?
No, wait till I get to number 1.
Okay.
Wait till I get to number 1. It's perfect. Yeah, but a good local Athens brewery naming a beer after him, I think would be, and then just leave it for life. I'll have some of the Stetson Bennett. I'll have the 33-18. He could have a whole line of beers. He should really hire me to do his marketing for him.
Yeah, put it right next to the Stella Artois.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett and the Stella Artois.
Yeah. Number 3, boat shoes. Now look at this dude.
Oh, yeah.
You're telling me that this guy doesn't always wear boat shoes. Stetson Bennett from Georgia.
Either that or sandals.
Okay. This guy wears his go-to outfit, I promise you, on a date, which I'm sure he'll get plenty of now.
Button-down shirt.
No. Fishing shirt.
Oh.
Blue jeans, boat shoes, possibly Croakies with sunglasses, depending on time of the day. That is what this guy does. If you're a boat shoe company,
then you got to get it.
Yeah. And even maybe if you have boat shoes and fishing shirts in your same fashion line, Stetson Bennett is your guy.
Yeah, maybe Columbia or somebody like that could hook him up. But Stetson, he looked like he would fit if he was the Ole Miss quarterback or the Texas quarterback or whatever. Yeah, he's got that.
Which schools? Let's name 3 or 4 schools. You mentioned 2 or 3 of them right there. Texas, Georgia,
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. The Ole Miss, you could see an Ole Miss fan walking down the street.
Tennessee, that guy could. Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the crowd I grew up with, basically.
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah. Number 2, and this is something they need to put his name on. I don't care what your name is. You need to take it off, and you have your Stetson Bennett Ford.
Yes.
Right there.
Sell him out.
Stetson Bennett Ford.
That actually sounds pretty good.
Right there. And listen, I can say like, hey, I'm Stetson Bennett, and we can make winning deals for you. 33-18 down on this 2021 Ford Explorer Sport. Right there. Boom. Stetson Bennett Ford. Or Chevy or whatever. But car dealership.
Yeah, just like he drove Georgia to the national championship game, blah, blah,
I'll drive you to savings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that would make sense. And, obviously cars are fair game now. Eric Dickerson was born in the wrong era. So was Adrian Peterson and Rhett Bomar, among others. But, that's all free game. So, yeah, slap him on there.
Yeah. And number 1, insurance. Stetson Bennett Insurance. I'm telling you right now. I mean, if he was like, hey, I'm national championship winning quarterback Stetson Bennett, and sometimes you can't predict things that are going on and just show him getting sacked or fumbling. But, I'm here to help you rally from those things that happen, whether it's storm damage or car accidents or life events.
Or a really bad fumble rule.
Yeah. At Stetson Bennett Insurance, we can take care of all of it and help you rally back.
Yeah, I mean, that would work. They all would be, I'm sure interested there in the Athens, Georgia area. There will be a lot of businesses interested. I'd actually be curious to know what his NIL earnings were before last night and what they're going to be versus after last night.
What's his class?
What I would be very curious to see.
He can come back. He could be a super senior next year.
So, yeah, I don't know what he might have had beforehand, but, yeah, after last night, he's going to be more of a household name and obviously a Georgia legend from here on out, along with some others on that team. But, he's going to have the full meal deal at his disposal, no doubt.
Stephen Snook Smokey. Inform this old man what the hell are croakies.
I just sent him the website.
I did too.
They're the
sunglass.
They hold
chain,
sunglasses
basically, not chain, but like a plasticky or foamy kind of wrap for the sunglasses to hang around your neck.
Yeah, there's no question about it. All right, from Bark to close it out. You never hear ex-Saban players speak reverently about him. He has a coaching turnover like no one else. Every year, they don't talk him up either. Maybe not a good guy. That's not true.
Nope.
Now, he does have coaching turnover a lot of times because people get opportunities. He, early in his career, I had heard that no one didn't bring anyone from Michigan State, didn't bring many people from LSU, whatever. Yeah, that he was hard. But I think Saban has changed, not changed a lot with what he wants to do and how he wants to do it, but I think he's changed a little bit.
I'll tell you one person I know it will speak on him forever is Amari Cooper. I've heard I've personally interviewed Amari Cooper 3 or 4 times, and every time, even sometimes without prompting, he brings up Coach Saban and how much respect and love he has for him. So, yeah, I
feel like that was a rampant thing. We've heard much, much more about it than you actually hear anything about it. Because, it's not like there's been a whole lot of Alabama players that have come out after the fact and been like, Nick Saban did, you don't hear that. You might hear a little chirping perhaps. But, I only hear Amari Cooper speaking glowingly or Jalen Hurts, even with that situation, being super respectful on his way out and all that. One Baylor basketball note, but I'm sure he has rubbed some the wrong way when he's been coaching as long as he has. And he's changed too. That's the thing is this isn't the same Nick Saban from 20 years ago. He's not a guy that's necessarily completely without fault at times. But Jeremy Sohan out for Baylor tonight as they get ready to play Texas Tech. He's in street clothes with a boot on his left ankle. So that answers that question from earlier today on whether he could have a super quick recovery, but it looks like it's going to take him a little
I would have
while.
been shocked had he been available to play in that game or any game the next week or two. All right, Armstrong, Sims, Jack McKenzie. Jack's at the game. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak. I'm David Smoak. Thanks to all of our amazing sponsors. By the way, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance off in the back right side. Brand new logo and graphic. Thanks to Carl Ellis and Mike Garrick. Thanks to you, our great sponsors, and of those who watch or listen.
Jameson Williams torn ACL. Officially.
That wasn't surprising. The thing about that sucks is you're not going to be 100% when the season begins, even with all the changes in
NFL
technology.
season.
Yeah, that's right. All right, good night. Sick on 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.